Chris Ello.
I think he's kind of a mouth.
Oh, my gosh. What does that mean?
He just says a bunch of stuff that I don't agree with.
All right. I'm going to move on from this as fast as possible.
Number 2. It's time to get you up to speed on all things sports.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
With plenty of nonsense in between.
Oh, look! Here comes our fearless producer!
Gwynn and Chris starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
And what is happening in San Diego? Welcome in to Gwynn and Chris. It is finally a Friday. It is a Friar Friday, and we're happy to be with you. A beautiful day in America's finest city, and for the next 3.5 hours or so, we're going to be hanging out, talking some sports with you. We've got some great news to kick off the show, and we'll get into that shortly. But Tony Gwynn Jr. down at Petco Park, where tonight the Padres will take on the New York Mets, Game 2 of a 4-game series. Mr. Scraby is alongside, so the gang's all here. I thought yesterday, want to once again thank Tony Gonzalez, our sales guy, for setting us up, and Jeff Hamby and the promotion people, and everybody, Adam Klug, everybody who had us out and about yesterday. Scraby, was fun seeing the people at Casa Octavio. Had a good crowd. I was really enjoyed just being out there, getting some fresh air, and the excitement of the ticket winners, especially the last couple there that was sitting over to our right. I don't remember their names.
Drew and Lily.
They showed up at about 4:30.
Yeah.
Got their name into the hopper, and then at 5 o'clock, they won the tickets to the Padre game. And just to see the look on their faces,
I think she went,
made it worth it. Made it worth it. I mean, it was just fun to have everybody out there. We hope everybody had a good time. We certainly did. We missed our partner, Tony Gwynn, out there yesterday, but he's in the booth, where tonight he will call Game 2 of this series. We'll talk about the Padres and the Mets, but first we got to start with you, Darvish, Tony. This is, really, really excellent news. Padres announcing that Yu Darvish has been reinstated from the restricted list. He will go to the 15-day IL. He will rejoin the team today. There will be a Yu Darvish kind of an impromptu dugout press conference. It's coming up at 3:45 this afternoon. We will let you in on it as soon as we can get the sound and everything turned around. So you will hear, that Yu Darvish press conference maybe at 4 o'clock, but right around there today, you'll hear everything that Yu has to say. But, Tony, there's a couple things. Number one, it's great for the Padres. I mean, Yu Darvish is a great pitcher. But beyond that, and I think more importantly, is the fact that whatever he has gone through, and maybe he'll touch on some of that today, maybe he won't, but whatever he has gone through, he feels like he's in a good enough place now where he can return to baseball. And that's, to me, is the highlight of this.
Yeah, yes, I think that's what you hope. You hope that he's coming back because he feels like he's in a good place to come back and play baseball. And certainly anytime you get a guy of his caliber coming back to your team, it's a boost. And so how long it will be before we see him on the mound, I'm sure a lot of this information will start to become more clear as we hear from Mike Schilt and Yu Darvish. But certainly getting him back. I mean, you started to hear that there was a possibility he could be back by the end of the month. But to see the news pop up on the phone today, you can't help but be a little bit excited about it. I think you're kind of reserving a little bit to wait to hear from him to see where he's at from a mental standpoint and a physical standpoint. But there's no other way you could really couch this other than it's great news for the San Diego Padres.
It's good all the way around. I mean, you just had a trade deadline 3 weeks ago, and, everybody tried to add to their team. Well, guess what? The Padres just added to their team and didn't have to give up a thing. They added one of the, most reliable number one starters in all of baseball in Yu Darvish. So that it's huge for the Padres going forward. But as I said today, I personally focus more on the personal with Yu Darvish. I'm looking forward to hearing him, today, and he'll share what he wants to share, I'm sure. But as Tony said, you got to believe and you hope that, he feels like he's in a good place to return to playing baseball right now. And that is a thumbs up for sure. The Padres, go ahead, Tony. Do you want to tack on?
No, I didn't say anything.
Oh, I'm sorry. Scraby, did you interrupt
I
me?
didn't. No, I didn't.
Well, you are pretty
Yesterday,
good
you almost punched me in the face for interrupting.
Almost punched you in the face.
Yeah.
First of all, that is such an exaggeration. You do realize you were on camera when that happened, and there was no attempt to punch you in the face.
I don't even believe I can ball my
And he had
hand in
glasses
a fist.
on, didn't he?
Yes, he did have glasses on.
So how could you have known that what
I
his
had
face
dark
looked
glasses on.
Well, I could just feel it.
You can't feel
I
that.
feared for my life.
Do you know
like?
how many people? Do you know how
Can
many
you
people?
feel me backstage?
Now I can. I've been looking out the whole time.
Get him on the air. Will
Oh, wait,
you,
hold on.
please?
Before people freak out, I need to mute Tony's box. There we go.
Whoa.
Thank you.
You have to what?
Okay, move on, Chris.
All right, I'll try to do that.
Move on.
I have to. I'm never going to even comment
You just
on that.
made Tony fall out of his chair.
I'm not even going to comment
kidding.
on what you said there.
I'm not kidding.
All right, so Darvish is back. Jason Adam will be our Friar Friday guest. We are excited by that. The 33-year-old right-hander acquired by the Padres at the trade deadline will be joining us in about 15 minutes, so we'll talk with Jason Adam, part of this lockdown Padres bullpen. But having said all that, Tony, yes, indeed, the Padres did lose yesterday, 8-3 to the New York Mets. The Mets had 17 hits in this game. It was a little bit like death by paper cut. They gave up. They got 5 doubles and 13 singles. It was just 12 singles. It was incredible. Everything they hit fell in yesterday, and they broke it open with a 5-run ninth inning. You put that on top of the game the day before. The Twins had 18 hits. And all of a sudden, the Padres have given up, crazy numbers, 19 runs and 35 hits in the last 2 games. But, Tony, before I came in today, I looked up, I checked the sky. It is still there. It has not fallen yet on the Padres, despite I'm sure people starting to think it is.
I'm still recovering from
Me too. Me too. So is the chat.
in regards to the baseball game.
Come on, guys, we got to keep it up here.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
The Mets, they were on the attack early.
They were.
They were, and it didn't matter whether it was a specific pitch. They hit anything in the zone. I think at one point, Dylan had thrown 26 strikes, and they had swung at 24. So the game plan was he's going to be in the zone, be on the attack, and that's certainly what they were. And as you said, everything was falling. They were, whether it was Lindor hit a slider that was down. Like, it was actually not a bad pitch. Hooked it for a double. I saw there was another one later on, another slider down that was hammered. They just swung the bat well yesterday. And, even with that being said, it was a 3-1 game until the 9th. The Padres were in it. They had some opportunities early. Double plays were not their friend once again in this ball game.
Yeah.
They had bases loaded. I think they got 1 run. On the flip side of that, the Mets got bases loaded, and I think they got 5. And so, that's something the Padres have really – it's hard to complain about because for most part all season long when they've had opportunities, they've cashed them in, or if you've made a mistake, they make you pay. Last 2 games, it hasn't gone their way from that standpoint.
I'll tell you, their version of Donovan Solano is the veteran Jose Iglesias, and I thought he made all of the plays last night to win this game for the Mets. He had the double that bounced over and set up the 2 runs that the Mets scored to make it 3-0 in the 4th inning. But more importantly than that, Tony, he stabbed that shot with the bases loaded there and turned it into a double play. That's a hell of a play.
By the way, that was
ball
the
skips past. It's 2 runs, and who knows what the Padres are often doing. So
that was the second hardest hit baseball in all of baseball yesterday.
Really?
Second hardest, and it ended in a double play.
Yeah,
The funny thing is, the kind of knock on Iglesias now, because he's always just had just silky smooth hands.
I heard you guys say that last night.
He's all the knock on him is that he doesn't have very much range. And the interesting thing was, I think every single ball that was hit to him yesterday, he was placed in the exact spot. Like, he didn't have to move. Even on the ball that was hit 110 off the bat of Cronenworth, he just opened up to his left to catch it and then turned to double play. He didn't have to move very much at all. And for a guy who may be lacking the range that he used to have, it just goes to show you the defensive alignments now are so good. I mean, they're literally putting you in the best possible spot to make plays. That was a good example of usually, plays like that, somebody's had to go range to their left, range to their right. He literally had balls just right at him, turning double plays.
Yeah.
And it just didn't go the Padres' way really the last two nights. We'll see if they can get back on track. Joe Musgrove on the mound here today.
I have
Graves got his hand up.
Yes, because there was a comment on the chat that I wanted to ask you guys about, and I don't know why I felt this way, but any possibility that Cease is tipping his pitches with how they were swinging so early in the count? I don't know. I'm just asking you guys.
I doubt it. There's nothing Cease was doing. And listen, there's always a chance he's tipping pitches, but sometimes he was just too in the zone yesterday, and they were on it. And as I said, usually you're tipping one thing. You're not tipping everything. They were hitting fastballs, slider, the knuckle curve got hit at one time. Yeah, I mean, maybe a couple days from now we'll hear something from, Dylan or Ruben saying that might have been the case. But as of now, I don't think so. That was just one of those days.
I don't see that.
Remember the last time the Mets faced him in New York? That was his worst start, I think, of the year.
It was
in that point. So
he gave up 7 runs to them in the first meeting in New York. This was we're going to get to a break because I know Jason Adams is coming up. I just wanted to say this. Something was crazy last night. I give the Mets all the credit, but you're right, Tony. Cease's location could not have been what it usually is. And the reason I say this, he had a 5-start stretch this year. 5 starts. He allowed a total of 6 hits. Last night, he gave up 9 hits. Dylan Cease. That's the most he's given up in a game all year, tied with one earlier. But I give the Mets a lot of credit. I mean, Lindor jumped on that one, double. Vientos, line drive, double. It was 1-0, just like that. And you're right, they were on the attack, and it worked.
Yeah, that's a good example. Like Lindor, good hitting. Vientos was a hanging slider. It was right in the middle of the plate. He was lucky that it was just a double from that standpoint. So the knuckle curve later in the game. Those are pitches that, at this level, no matter who you are, if you're making mistakes in that part of the zone, you're generally going to get hit.
But I want to also say that when you give up 17 hits in a game, it's pretty rare that all 17 of those stay in the ballpark.
Yeah,
I mean, they all had to find an opening somewhere. And last night they all did. So
through my recollection, it was only the ground rule double that was close to being a homer.
That's right. Yeah, everything was in the yard last night. All right, so the Mets get the first game. Padres will try to come back tonight. Joe Musgrove, as mentioned, will be pitching for the Padres. When we come back, we will be jumping in with pitcher Jason Adam. He's our Friday guest. We're looking forward to meeting him. His first visit to our program since being acquired at the trade deadline. That and a whole lot more of Gwynn and Chris is ahead on 97.3 The Fan.
Dylan Cease throws a no-hitter. The
All right, let's jump right into it. 2:20 on the clock. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matt Scraby. It is indeed Friar Friday. Scraby, I do notice that the colors, maybe it's my old computer, on the left side, Gwynn and Chris, it looks a little different color red than the 97.3 part on the right side. Is that just me, my computer?
No, it's kind of like a gradient is what they call it.
Gradient.
Yes.
Oh, I got you. All right.
Thank you. I'm sure that our guest loves this.
It is a Friar Friday, though. We do have it's a Friday because we got the Friar Friday colors on the
Indeed.
screen.
So let's get to our Friar Friday guest, Padre reliever. Excuse me, Jason Adams joins us here on Gwynn and Chris. Jason, welcome to the show, man. Welcome to San Diego. How are you?
Thank you. I'm great, man. It's been great being in San Diego.
You've been great since putting on this Padre uniform. I mean, you're having a tremendous year. I guess I'll start with, obviously, in Tampa, when you're in that organization, anything can happen in terms of trades or things like that. At what point did it start to become apparent to you, or was it ever apparent to you that you could be on the move headed somewhere else?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's like you said with Tampa, that's just the reality of their model over there. Is there's a lot of turnover. So I knew it was a possibility, and then I think everyone over there would admit that first half of the year we didn't play like we thought we should, and so anytime there's a chance for a front office to build for the future when it doesn't look like things are going their way this year, you know that it's going to happen. It could happen, and then you also know as a reliever, it's always on the table. So yeah, I was prepared. I didn't know where or if, but certainly knew it was a possibility.
Jason Adam, great addition to the Padres, and we're happy to have him on here, Gwynn and Chris. And you talked about being traded. You've gone from Kansas City, you've gone to Minnesota, you've gone to Chicago, you've gone to Tampa Bay, whatever. Does it ever get any easier? And how is best to prepare for being traded? And also, I think a lot of guys, they get to a new place. It's not easy to settle in. You don't have a place to live all set up yet you still got to go out and do your job every night. Have you kind of gotten better at that as these situations have come up?
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know. We've come up with new strategies. It obviously is. The baseball aspect is like, it's excitement. Hey, I'm going to a team. We're pushing for the playoffs and deep into the playoffs. So that's exciting. But the life aspect obviously is, there's some moving pieces, but we've kind of just settled, my wife and I mean, we got 4 little kids, so it's not easy, but we're just, any chance we can, we're just going to rip the Band-Aid off. We're going to all roll together and make it home. So wherever we're at, we assume we're going to be there forever until we're told otherwise. Because if you're just sitting there, on the edge of your seat, like, how much longer, it's miserable. So we just go out there and we assume. So now I'm assuming I'm a Padre for life until they tell me otherwise.
Great perspective to have in a business like this where it's completely out of your control. Jason Adams joins us here, Padre reliever. And Jason, I look at your career arc, man. It started in Kansas City. You went through Toronto and Chicago, as Chris mentioned, but you really started to settle in those last couple of years in Tampa. What was it that changed for you? What has helped you get into this great groove you've been on over the last 2.5 seasons?
Yeah, I mean, I owe so much of my career to like Kyle Snyder, the Rays. They just helped simplify things for me. I think as a reliever or pitcher, you can overthink and tinker and worry so much about nibbling and avoiding bats. When I went over there, I'm like, they got to have some like crazy new thing for me. And all it was, hey, your stuff is good. The problem you have is you fall behind guys, so we're just going to set up the catcher down the middle, and we're going to let you miss to the edges. And even if you go down the middle, odds are still in your favor. And so it was that simple of a process of like, hey, we're going to get you ahead of batters, and then you can start expanding, trying to strike guys out. And obviously there's some intricacy to it with the mechanics and pitch grips and all that, but overall it was buying in to throwing strike 1, throwing strike 2, and then taking the next 4 pitches to try to get the guy out.
Jason, I'm looking at your page here, and you were drafted right out of high school from Omaha, Nebraska. I imagine Peyton Manning is either your favorite quarterback or not your favorite quarterback, depending on how you look at it with his yelling of Omaha. But you're drafted out of high school 2010, and then you make your major league debut 2018. Take us through that 8 years. That's a long time to try to keep your dream alive, and congrats, for getting it done. I mean, that's a lot of stick-to-itiveness, I imagine.
Thank you. Yeah, it was certainly not the path I had envisioned. It was, you come out of high school, and your guy was went to high school in Kansas City, and then was drafted by Kansas City. So I felt like I was big stuff. And I just, I couldn't quite put it together. I was a starter at the time, and I just would have good stretches and bad stretches, but I was still, a quote prospect, if you would. And then ended up got traded to the Twins and had a stress fracture in my arm that cost me the next 3 years. So all of 2015,
wow.
all of 2016, and then until mid-August of 2017. And that obviously put a screeching halt to the career. And that was with the 2017 was with the Padres minor league. And I tell people it stunk at the time, obviously not what I wanted, but I wouldn't trade it for 3 years in the big leagues. It was so good for my soul. I was obsessed with worshipped baseball, and I was like my line, and the truth is, I was like, baseball is an awesome game, but it's a terrible god. So you got to kind of take it off that pedestal a little bit.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't trade it. But yeah, and then so I got released by the Padres August of 17, signed back with Kansas City, and then debuted May of 2018.
Wow, what a journey! You mentioned the mechanics and the intricacies. I'm interested to know, because we've kind of seen this in the last 6-7 years really become a thing. Kind of that short. You don't really have the traditional long arm kind of through the baseball. It's kind of like pulling it back by the ear, letting it go. Have you always thrown the baseball that way, or is that something that you've kind of readjusted to?
No, that was totally new in 2017. So, because I kept having these surgeries and not being able to recover, so I'm like, I'm just going to try something new. And Garvin was I forget his last name, but he was a pitching coach, rehab pitching coach for the Padres at the time. I was like, can I do this? And he was like, yeah, man, well, try anything. And I just kind of started. I'd put the ball by my ear and step and throw. And I was like, well, that doesn't hurt. And I took it out to 120 feet. I'm like, well, it still doesn't hurt. And then, so I'm long tossing, still doesn't hurt. And then I got to bullpens. I'm like, well, how do I even come set? So at that time, I just kept my ball by my ear and I just put my glove over it. And I was like, well, that doesn't hurt. And everything was fine. So it was literally just a survival tactic, and it worked. I think it actually makes my stuff play up a little bit. And but yeah, it was totally just like, hey, I got to find a way to throw that doesn't hurt, or else I'm going to be working a 9 to 5, or I still might be working a 9 to 5 if no one gives me a job. But yeah.
So Tony took my question, and he probably took everybody's question, because I think everybody who sees you pitch sees that your delivery is a little different. And that's so ironic that it's because of an injury, that forced you to throw the way you do, and now I think it is really effective for you, because I wonder if batters are comfortable. You're used to the ball being delivered a little differently right now. How confident are you right at this point? I mean, you've come here to San Diego and you've started to hit the ground running. When confidence is high like this, I imagine you can't wait for your name to be called.
Yeah, you want to throw every night. That just is. Even when things aren't going, like if you have a bad one, you want to get. That's what I love about being a reliever. You can pop right back out there the next day. You don't have to sit on it for 5 days. So, yeah, but I feel very confident. It's been great. Ruben's been fantastic. And just taking all the things I learned with Tampa and then growing, like a whole nother perspective. And our catchers, they work so hard with their game plan, so I have so much confidence in them. It's like it's a great situation to be going into. And try to just focus on the process. I can throw terrible pitches and get good results, and you can throw really good pitches and get bad results. So over time, the good pitches will play out. So I try to focus on that and try to repeat the good ones as often as possible.
Jason, you've been a terrific interview thus far. I got one last question for you, and I can probably guess that a lot of hitters aren't seeing the baseball that well because it's pretty much hitting until all of a sudden it's on you. I got to ask because you mentioned Kyle Snyder in Tampa, and everybody raves about Ruben here. I mean, I assume that there's some differences. Obviously, they probably see the game different in some elements, but what are some of the characteristics that both of them have that make them so renowned around this game?
Yeah, I know. I was so nervous about getting traded because I'm like, I feel like I have one of the best pitching coaches in the game. And then Snyder told me where I was going, and he's like, "You're going to the best pitch." You know, like he was so complimentary of Ruben. I'm like, "Well, I'm spoiled." But yeah, I think their similarities are how well they read us players, you know, and they give each individual. They can read an individual and see what you need, you know.
Yeah.
Some guys want all the details, some don't. Some guys need to be like fluffed up with like tons of like compliments, and some guys need to be told they stink, you know. Whatever. I think they're just so, and they care. I mean, you can tell like. As much as they probably don't want to, they take it home with them. Like they care about each of us, like their children almost. I would assume, and you could just, and if they don't, if they certainly act like it, they fooled me. Yeah, no, that you can just tell how much they care and they're important. And when someone cares that much for you, it just makes you want to go out there and do great.
It really indeed is the magic potion when it comes to coaching up ball players. Jason, man, thank you for coming on, spending some time with us, man. Continued success. You seem to be rolling. Good luck the rest of the way and continued health.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you guys for having me on.
Jason Adams, Padres reliever, whether it's the 6th, 7th, 8th. This guy has been, I mean, literally given up nothing so far. He's been such a great addition to this bullpen and a fantastic interview.
That was really good, really intriguing and interesting, and ironic that the guy had this injury, took him out for 3 years. I mean, people, if you get stopped in what you want to do in your life for 3 years, are you staying with it? That is not easy to do.
I've seen it fold many players, like just completely sap them of any confidence or any want to. But he said his saying, baseball is a great game, but it's not a good God. And so basically kind of taking it off of that pedestal of being his everything has allowed him to enjoy the game. I mean, believe it or not, that is when I would bet a high percentage of players turn the corner, is when they can get through the fact that it is not the end-all, be-all for you, is usually when guys start to play their best baseball. That's been in my experience at least.
Did you see what the chat wanted to ask him, Tony?
No, I did not. I can't see the chat.
All right, well, good. The chat only wanted us to ask him about the fact that he is the A in the ASS finish of the Padre bullpen.
Yes.
That's what they wanted to know. What he thought of being part of that.
I guarantee you he has no idea.
I guarantee you he has no idea either. But I do think it's
so.
I just wanted to know that. I want everybody to know that
he would have thought, who are these two weirdos asking me this question?
Exactly.
I think you know who started that charge in the chat? Our boss.
That's not a surprise. Not a surprise at all.
I told Chris during it, I was like, "Hey, Chris, the chat wants you to ask about the name that they called it." He's no. He just put on his headphones.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
All right. I'm glad the chat's mind is in the right place.
It'd be different if Jason was rolling into our show and he was reading the chat every day and he understood where it was coming from.
Yeah.
It would have come out of like absolute left field to ask him that.
Yeah, we didn't want to ruin a nice interview.
We'd be let's just say we probably would stop getting really good guests at that point.
Yes. Jason would pass around to the rest of the people in the clubhouse. Don't
weird.
Talk to these crazy lunatics.
All right, let's get to break. On the other side, maybe a little Mike Schilt, a little Ben and Woods this morning. Didn't get a chance to hear it. Tune in. We have it up next on Gwynn and Chris.
Oh, that's me.
Yeah.
The biggest guest.
All right, big thanks to Jason Adam doing a good job on our Friar Friday interview. Really, a lot of interesting stuff. And this guy is really, drafted in 2010, major leagues in 2018. I don't know a lot of guys that have had an 8-year run before they even get a taste of the big leagues. And now that he's had it, he's not giving it up. And he appreciates it every time he goes out there. He has been great for the Padres. We appreciate him coming on our Friar Friday interview. Chris, hello. Tony Gwynn Jr. down at Petco Park.
I have my hand up like Scravy.
Yes, I heard you did. And I was going to...
You heard his hand going up?
Well, no, you told me he was going to put his hand up. So,
Okay.
Yes,
no,
Tony,
this is
acknowledge you.
different.
Oh.
This is something different.
Oh.
You Darvish, full uni.
Oh.
Looks like he about to do some things. I would imagine he's in a full uni because he's about to throw or something.
Picture day?
Are we, if you're just tuned in, by the way, you Darvish has been activated off the restricted list. Yeah. This is the big news.
He's now on the 15-day IL.
He's on the IL. Now, so that honestly doesn't mean he can't pitch for 2 weeks?
No, it does not. He's it's retroactive, I'm sure.
Okay. So what people may ask is, could we see him honestly even pitching Monday in St. Louis, because that's an open spot right now, or is that a pipe dream?
I would doubt it.
Yeah, I would too.
I wouldn't say absolutely not, but I would doubt it. I would think that they want him to kind of see some hitters.
Yeah,
maybe get a rehab start, couple of them. I would think.
Agreed.
Yes.
Agreed. Yes. What is it?
Just to kind of give you guys the behind the curtain. Sometimes, as broadcasters or co-hosts or hosts, you have to be able to think fast on your feet. As I was bringing Jason Adam on, I blanked. I couldn't remember his name for a sec.
No.
That's a terrible feeling.
So you guys might have heard like a cough and Scraby laugh at me as I was like seemingly choking on my own spit. That was just a ploy to buy time to remember the name.
Oh my goodness, that's a tough feeling.
Right?
I have it. Hold on.
Let's hear how he sounded.
Okay, it might be. Okay, here we go.
Let's get to our Friar Friday guest, Padre reliever. Excuse me, Jason Adams joins us here.
Good.
Excuse me,
Tony. You are and that puts you into veteran status right there.
Padre reliever.
That puts you into
Jason
veteran.
I like how he goes, oh, no.
Very good. I'm sure I told you guys the time that I was doing an update at the old 690, and we used to print out each story on a separate piece of paper, and that day the Aztecs hired Fred Trenkel as their new men's basketball coach. And I had it on one of my sheets, but I decided I wasn't going to use it in that particular update. So I went into the studio. I didn't have the sheet with me. Anyway, I finished my update just a few seconds early, so I thought, okay, I'll throw it in just so the people can get this information. And I said, and one more thing, the San Diego State Aztecs today hired, and I totally forgot his name.
Oh, no.
And I didn't have the sheet. I had no way to come up with his name. And I was already halfway into the sentence. And my quick thinking was to say nothing for a few seconds and then pick up as if nothing happened.
Oh, like
just keep
like the
moving.
Radio dropped out for a second.
That's what happened, right? If you didn't hear the name, it's because your radio dropped out.
And you'd be like, I said it.
That's good too.
That was my strategy.
Your microphone wire fell out as you were saying the name.
Yeah, but I totally
too.
forgot his name, and I just left a blank. And
you could have also like just mouthed it and then pretended like there was no sound. Like
I couldn't mouth it because I didn't even know what to mouth. I had no chance. Anyway,
that's funny.
So it's happened to all of us, Tony. That is a terrifying feeling.
Dan says, Tony, you didn't say my man. Can you?
Coming on is our interview is my man from the Padre bullpen.
See, that would have been a dead giveaway that I didn't know his name at that point. I was just trying to buy time. I knew it. I just couldn't remember it at the time.
That's funny.
I like that you tattled on yourself. That's good.
I feel like that's the best form of
I agree.
of keeping yourself in line.
That's how I come up
You got to
with.
be able to make fun of yourself sometimes.
Oh yeah, that's how we come up with material for this show. I mean,
I was pretty hard on myself during the broadcast. I called Manny's homer 19th, and it was his 20th. It was a great call until I decided to say it was homer number 19.
Yeah, that's
So
not.
that one ate me up for the
That
rest
still
of the
bugs
night.
you though. I
Yeah,
know it
for
bugs
sure.
you.
Yeah,
It
when I went
does.
home, I was like, man, I could have sworn that was Manny's 20th.
Yes, I was
homer.
upset by it too.
I was. Maybe I should go check the computer because this is really. Oh my goodness, it was his 20th.
What a
Idiot over
mistake!
here can't get his numbers together.
What a mistake!
I'm nobody who should be talking about getting things right. So I never get things right.
Yesterday on the program, and I was going to get to some Mike Schultz stuff, but with Ben and Woods, but with all due respect to Ben and Woods, they always ask great questions. I didn't think there's really a whole lot here. If you want to hear the interview, you can always go back to 97.3 The Fan SD and click on the morning show, and you will find the entire interview. You'll hear everything that Mike Schultz said. Also, earlier today, Annie and Elston had Landon Donovan on from the Wave, the new soccer coach.
So he
of the
got
Wave.
doused on his first victory. He got
And he got a win. Good for him.
Got the ice bath.
Got the ice bath. So you can hear that interview with Andy Nelson also at our webpage, 97.3 The Fan SD, and check out that. You can always download the Odyssey app and find all the stuff. But I wanted to share with you, Tony, while I had a minute. You weren't with us yesterday when I broke out. And Scraby, Scraby thinks that I'm all about myself and promoting myself. And, it's partly true.
Oh!
All right? We're all, because all of us are about promoting ourselves.
Hello, everybody. I am here.
That's right.
Let's
It's
go,
me.
Park.
That's
Rejoice.
Right. That's right. So yesterday, if you want to believe it, you're going to believe it anyway, so I might as well just give it to you. But yesterday I came up with what I feel to be brilliant, the magnificent 7 reasons why 2024 may be the Padres' year. So I wanted to share them with you, Tony.
Okay.
Because you probably didn't get a chance to hear them yesterday. And get some of your thoughts. And this is a mostly serious list of 7 reasons why I think this could be our year. And I'm talking about not just to get into the playoffs, but to, do something. And maybe think about a parade at the end of it all. Number 1, and this has just had to be in there, they're going to make the postseason. And I know that they lost the last 2, but they're still a 96% choice to make the playoffs.
Dang, they lost the last 2. God, what bums.
I
man.
know.
Those
Seriously,
guys.
first time since July 10th and 12th.
Yeah. No.
I looked it up.
Well, no, they lost on the 14th before the All-Star break and the 19th
Right, it's first
after
time
the
on
All-Star
consecutive games.
I was doing
back-to-back
pre- and
days.
post.
I know what
break.
you were doing,
Yeah.
Scraby, but you were wrong. Anyway, so they're going to make the postseason. They should get to 90 wins. And 90, what are you doing this? Oh, you're giving me a little music for this?
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, a little music.
If they get to 90, Tony, that would give them the same number of wins Texas had last season. So that's just kind of a lead-in to the rest of the list.
Okay.
Number 2, they've had the magic this year. They have 32 come-from-behind wins. They are 7-1 in extra inning games. They have had the ability to win close, dramatic games. And I think in every championship season, teams kind of show that ability. So I think that's something that this team has, and I hope that is going to serve them well moving forward. Anytime you want to jump in, you're welcome to.
I like the magic. I think I agree with that. They got something special going. I don't know exactly, how you bottle that up and
Exactly.
quantify it.
I don't either,
But they definitely got something magical going.
they
sure.
have. All right, number 3 on the Magnificent 7. I know you're going to agree with this one. They hit the ball. And what we
Yes.
mean by that is they have the fewest strikeouts in baseball, and their pitchers have struck out the second most. So when they get to the postseason where it's hard to hit home runs because you're facing top-notch pitching, hopefully the Padres are going to be putting the ball in play a lot more than their opponents. The statistics tell us that'll be the case. And hopefully that'll give them a better chance to score some runs and win some of those playoff games, Tony.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think the beauty about their offense is that it travels. It doesn't discriminate. Doesn't need to be a certain kind of pitcher. It's really effective against good, bad, mediocre. It doesn't really matter. And it's not dependent on one thing offensively. It's not as though they only hit homers. It's not as though as they can't hit homers and have to rely solely on small ball. They get it any way you really want it.
All right, that was number 3. And number 4, the Magnificent Seven. They win on the road. And they don't just win on the road. Their 37-26 record on the road is by a large margin the best in the National League. Yep. There's no one even close. And I also add this in because if they go in as a wild card, they're going to have to eventually win on the road. But they have shown the ability to do that all year. I don't think there's any ballpark they're going to go into that they should be too concerned about.
Yeah, I think there's only a couple that they got a losing record in. I mean, Philly, New York.
Yeah. Everywhere else.
That's pretty much it.
That's right. Everywhere else they won. Number 5. And this has already started.
I guess Colorado, if you want to count.
Oh,
them
yeah.
too.
Well, I'm getting to that, actually. Number 5 on my list, Magnificent 7 reasons why this could be the year. And this already started. They're going to get better. And when I wrote this, they hadn't gotten Darvish back yet, but they've got him now. But they're still going to get even better than that because Wandy Peralta's going to come back, Hassan Kim's going to come back, and biggest of all, Fernando's coming back. And that, there's no team in baseball that's going to get that kind of a jolt to their roster heading into the month of September to get Fernando back. So
I agree.
All right. Number 6 is a little levity in the countdown. Number 6 reason why this is the Padres' year, because the Rockies aren't going to make the playoffs.
They're out. They're been
out.
eliminated.
They can't get in, yeah. So you don't have to worry about losing to them. And then back to finish it up, the number 7 reason, and it comes full circle, the Magnificent 7 reasons why the Padres, this is their year, because of the Magnificent 7. And that's what I'm calling the guys in this bullpen right now, Tony. The deepest, I think, of collection of reliable arms in baseball. It's not just Suarez, Scott, and Adam, but you add to that Morejon, you add to that Estrada. I think Hoeing has become a really reliable guy. And I think to a certain extent, you can throw Matsui in there as a 7th guy. And if you don't want to put him, maybe Peralta. But, I mean, Mike Schilt's options in that bullpen should put them in a good position to have a chance to win in the postseason, I would think.
Yeah, he's got good options. He's got multiple choices to go with at different times.
He's got lefty, righty. He's got 4 and 4. I mean, you look at the game last night. Just for example, if that was a playoff game, with all due respect, Gilbreth would not have pitched the 9th inning. It would have been, one of these guys that have pitched the 9th inning and might have got
Gilbreth? Oh, you mean
Gilbreth?
Gillespie?
Well, I'm sorry. Gillespie pitched the 9th inning. Sorry, my bad. It's all right.
It's all good.
He's not on the show. He's not on the show today. I don't need to know his name.
It's fine. I think we actually all knew who you were talking about.
Yes, Gillespie.
That's because he's part of the Rockies.
Yes, he's a Rocky guy. He's a gas can in the Rockies bullpen. Gilbert is. But anyway, Gillespie wouldn't have pitched the 9th. It would have been somebody different. Probably would have been still a 3-1 game going to the bottom of the 9th. That's the kind of playoff baseball you're going to see. Anyway, I just, I'm not ready to crown them world champs because that would be ridiculous at this point. But they really have a lot of things that give you the feeling that this could happen, Tony. And I hope I'm right.
I think everybody listening is hoping you're right,
including
me and Scrape. So, there's one ingredient that you just can't count on, and you need it. It's luck. You need a little bit of that as well.
You do.
And so we'll see how it goes.
All right. We're at the top of the first hour of the program. Still ahead, Daily Gambit. I got to tell you, the countdown is a great one today. A little chicken soup for the soul. It's going to put everybody in a good mood. Countdown's a little later. Also, Darvish's press conference. He's returning to the Padres. We'll have that for you in a little while. Stick around. Gwynn and Chris, where you need to be on a Friday afternoon, 97.3 The Fan.
97.3 The Fan.
Indeed, Gwynn and Chris started an hour ago, but you can get hour number 2 right now. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Matthew Scraby. There is indeed a Padre lineup out. Get ready to roll. Pretty much the same lineup as yesterday. Only thing different is
gets a big kick out of playing that.
I feel like it's important. We're trying to train people that when they hear that, it's lineup time.
Pavlov's dog type of thing?
Yes, exactly. Pavlov's dog.
It's lineup time.
So, nonetheless, Padres throwing out pretty much the same lineup, minus Luis Camposano. Kyle Higashioka gets to start. Mason McCoy back in the lineup again here, back-to-back days.
He made a
got
couple of nice plays last night, Tony. He got one that he made would have been an amazing play. Couldn't get enough on the throw. I think, I forget who it was, McNeil beat it out for an infield single, but
yeah,
kid looked all right at shortstop.
He looked like a guy who's been playing shortstop every day. Is what he looked like. Like he just was fluid, smooth, all of that. He'll be back in the lineup today. Joe Musgrove making the start for the Padres. All right, let's change gears.
Real quick, one more thing.
I
I want to ask you because people are asking us. Catching situation. Where is it right now? Higashioka has had, the magical season, the magical run. It's cooled off just a little bit. At the same time, Camposano, I feel like he's getting to play a little bit more, but he hasn't really been able to grab hold of this thing. Do you kind of get the sense they're going to rotate for a while? I mean, especially now, remember, Waldron is not there, which was always a Higashioka start. Or do you think Kyle still is kind of the go-to? And can the Padres get in a little trouble here in the sense that neither guy seems to be in a good groove right now?
I mean, they'll be as in much trouble as every other team is with their catching situation, minus the Dodgers and, the Phillies, the dudes who have all-stars. That's kind of the way it goes. I think right now Kyle's going to get the bulk. But that is not a for certain thing for the rest of the season. I mean, in the same way Kyle got hot, Campy could get hot, and the roles could flip. I think he's going to continue to find places to get Campy a start, as he tries to reestablish his rhythm and whatnot. But my guess is the majority, at least as of now, will go to Kyle. That's my guess.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
On behalf of the chat.
Thank you.
Okay. let's shift gears. Tua, my man Chris Ello's quarterback.
Of all the people in the sporting universe, you had to land on my quarterback, huh?
I did, because at the beginning of the week he said he had some quotes that kind of raised some eyebrows about coaching. He said that, and he said to simplify things, these are his words, imagine being told you suck every day and having to play underneath that. And then imagine a new coach coming in and saying, hey, you are perfect for what we're doing. And you imagine the different results. Now, he was paraphrasing, and he made it probably a much more complicated situation into a very simple situation in order to explain it. And that caught the ire of a lot of people. But a lot of people talking about it. I know Brian Flores, who he was talking about as the coach that told him that he sucked all the time.
And he was a terrible person.
He responded to it. And I actually like the way he responded to it. He didn't deny. He just basically said there's been some growth there. I don't know that he was definitely saying he agreed with the way it was explained, but he certainly seemed to take responsibility in terms of his side of things and needing to grow. But I thought Ryan Clark, who spoke on it on I think it was early in the morning, what's the morning one, not First Take, but the one before, Get Up. I think he spoke about it on Get Up, and it kind of gives you some perspective on it.
Piece of this is, like, now more than ever, we are focused on the mental health of players. And Tua Tagovailoa revealing some of the things he went to speaks to what his mindset was during that time. But everything's about trauma. It's about learned experiences. And this is about healing. Think about what you said about Brian Flores. Honduran immigrants were his parents. There were 5 boys in that house. You go find a way to work your way out of Brownsville, New York. You get a college scholarship, and then you go right into coaching under Bill Belichick. That is what you learned. You learn to communicate that way. You learn to deal with players that way. And now that trauma, those learned experience, they hinder Tua Tagovailoa from being everything that he could be.
Yeah.
And think about having the perfect coach for the perfect time. Mike McDaniel, someone who had positive reinforcement from his parents, but also understands second chances. He's a recovering alcoholic, right? He's a man who understands healing, who understands rehabilitation. He steps into Tua Tagovailoa's life and breeds positivity and life into him. I think we need to give these dudes some grace, though, right? The people that are saying Tua Tagovailoa is soft, no, he's not soft.
Right.
He was dealing with a very difficult situation. People who say that Brian Flores is now a terrible person because of the way he approaches coaching, that's not fair.
Yeah.
And somebody like Mike McDaniel.
That's interesting. Very well.
I thought it was interesting. It kind of speaks to what you and I talked about the other day. I think it might have been a Big Five question about different coaches and players, being able to absorb or not absorb whatever's coming their way. The part I liked about what Ryan Clark was saying is that all of our life experiences really have an impact on how we receive information, how we give information in some cases. And it doesn't make you a soft or, tough individual if you can't or can deal with it. It doesn't make you a terrible human being if that is the only way you know how to maybe get your message across. But it's something that we talk about often in sports because there are so many different styles in which you coach and are taught.
Go ahead.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry.
No, you're right.
Well, I think Brian Flores maybe because I understand what he was doing, and Brian Clark makes a great point about his background versus Mike McDaniel's background, but each situation, I think, is its own situation, and maybe Brian Flores should have read that Tua was not responding to this sort of motivation because when I was stopping drinking, I had this one guy, and he's probably listening right now, and I hated seeing him because he would be tough love on me all the time. And looking back, I absolutely needed that. But I also needed the people that were going to coddle me when I needed to be coddled and needed to have a confidence boost. Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris.
I just thought Brian Flores came out looking really good in this situation. And I think it's interesting that everybody has a different takeaway from Tua's soft to Brian Flores as a jerk. Brian Flores is far from a jerk. If you have any understanding of human nature and you took the time to watch any of his press conference, this meant a lot to him to hear this come out. His words were quivering a bit as he spoke the other day. And I think for him to, first of all, be complimentary to Tua in the wake of those comments, and then also acknowledge the fact that he's gotten better. It's a learning curve. And as a coach, he's done some things that he knows he can do better. I think if you look in the mirror in any situation and ask yourself, how can I improve myself, then you're the real winner here. Yeah. And that's why I think Brian Flores comes out on top. I don't know that Tua is soft, but I also don't know why he needed to say all this stuff unless he feels like, the Miami fans needed to know why he struggled for a couple of years. I don't know what he needed to gain by saying all this. Or I guess maybe to unburden himself, but
that's my we don't know that because I don't know what the question was that prompted him to answer in the way that he did. But I think the cool side of this is that he got off whatever he needed to get off his chest, and that the message was received in a way that I think is going to make Brian Flores better, and it's probably going to make Tua better, just based off him being able to get that off his chest. I just thought it was interesting to kind of that whole dynamic, especially the Mike McDaniel's part, right? That's a dude who, had an inside look into coaching, got a job, and then, squandered it away because he had a drinking problem. And, how his approach coming in to deal with Tua was completely different, and it was actually what Tua needed at the time. He's pretty much flourished under Mike McDaniels versus Brian Flores, and it's a learning experience for everybody. I just thought that was I sent that story when it went in to Scraby at the beginning of the week, knowing I wasn't going to get a chance to be on the show with you guys for a little bit, but I'm glad we got to talk about it. That was cool.
I just want to correct one thing that you said, Tony.
Uh-oh.
I will agree with you that Tua has flourished under Mike McDaniel when he can beat a good team once. Thank you. I had to unburden myself with that comment.
At least Tua goes to the field knowing that he's loved.
He's loved, but not by me when he throws 4 picks against Buffalo every time.
He should be a little concerned about that.
That's where the love stops.
That's
right
where the
there.
love stops.
Yes, that is.
I'm always in love with him when he's beating Carolina 61-7.
Or the Broncos.
Yeah, whatever. But when he can't complete a pass against, the Chiefs, then I get a little frustrated.
I think that's the team I'm going to be rooting
Tua.
for, rooting against the hardest this year.
The Chiefs?
Yeah.
The Denver Broncos.
Oh, wow,
Yes.
you've come over to our side, but you
I can't
had
wait
Russell
to root
Wilson
against
there
them.
last year, so now he's gone.
Yeah.
Well, they're turning it over to Bo Nix. Going to be the starter.
They're going to be so good this year.
Bo's a veteran. He'll be fine.
Yeah, he is
Bo
like
Nix,
27.
what is he? Oh, he's a little older, yeah.
He's
Sean
like
Payton.
Chris Winkie.
Sean Payton has forgotten whatever it was that he knew 10 years ago.
He just doesn't have a Drew Brees in his pocket anymore.
Oh, I should say while we're talking about football that you can go sign up for our Eliminator Challenge that's up right now.
Yeah, sign up for it, man. I got everybody.
Do I need to sign up too?
Yes, I will send
Yes,
you
you
the
need to
link for
improve.
the
You need to
7th
make up for
time.
last year being eliminated in the first week of the season.
Was that because
so
he
you-
actually
Are you guys
got it
ready
wrong?
for the draft coming up here? It's
Got our
getting here
fantasy
close.
draft is.
Hope
2
everybody's
weeks
got
off.
their. I hope everybody's got their keepers in.
I got mine. I did actually a practice draft this morning, and ended up with you always end up with what you feel is a great team in the practice draft.
Practice draft.
But it
I
never
think a
goes
practice
that
drafts
way
are
in
for
the
daisies.
actual draft.
Well,
so-
because
Yeah,
you
they're
got
fugazi.
someone taking a kicker in the 7th
Yeah,
round, and you're like, oh,
I
wait
know.
a second.
Now I got to get a kicker, and
I gotta get a kicker. Chris, let's just say that Chris is doing mock drafts maybe 20 times a day.
no, I've done 4 in the
Today.
in the 2.5 weeks since Tony gave us the draft date and all of the particulars. I think I've done 3 or 4. I haven't
I've
done
done
as
2.
many this year. But I enjoy it. I honestly don't do it because I think it really helps me all that much.
I think
I
it
just
helps.
kind of get a kick out of seeing what my team might look like.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
I enjoy doing it. It's fun. I don't have as much fun playing fantasy football as I used to because I don't win as often as I used to.
Well, the
And
kids are
that
just
is
better
something I
these
need to
days.
change. Stop with the kids are much better
By
these
the way,
days.
how's the playoff
Please.
baseball going? Where are we at?
This is ugly, but it's Tony. It's bad for guys like you and I here because I'm going to lose and he's going to win, and that means we're going to have to hear from more of him.
I'm going to make
Yes,
it.
you're gonna lose.
I'm going to lose. Yeah.
Chris is having a tough week, and I do feel bad because his
I'm having a
team
terrible
has been
week.
pretty good down the stretch.
Yeah, had a
and
good season, but not
it's
this
not
week.
a good week. My
Not this
week,
week.
I'm up 8-2, but I'm not saying it's over by any stretch of the imagination because I know things happen.
Ultimately, Scraby's going to win in advance. I'm going to go home, and you and I are going to have to listen to him spout off
Can
about
you
the fact that he
imagine?
still has a chance to be the champ again.
Double
If
champ?
this guy is the double champ, dog, we won't make it through this offseason.
Double champ baseball, defending my title in football. This is just like my fantasy dreams right now.
All I can say is that
We
some
just
of-
need to, you know what? We need to start doing more fantabulous game shows. I think that's what
put him in his place.
Just do one every day.
Put him in his place every day to remind him where he really stands.
All right, let's get to break. I have to head downstairs to listen to some Padre talk. My guys will continue on. A little daily gambit up next. Here's some traffic.
From the 97.
exciting news. It sounds like Darvish is on his way back. How inspiring is that for you guys?
Yeah, I think all of us found out last night, and obviously what he does and his work ethic, and we all know he's ready to go, and we're all super excited for him to be back.
Jake Cronenworth there. Special guest appearance by Bob Scanlon on the Gwynn and Chris show. Yes, indeed, if you're just tuned in, Darvish is back with the Padres. He's been reinstated from the restricted list, returned to the 15-day IL. He is with the team today, and Tony said in full uniform as he came out on the field a little earlier this afternoon.
I don't know why it's so funny to me, like him running out in his full uniform.
Yeah, it does seem a little. It's like opening day of Little League,
like,
when you get out there.
Like a workout shirt or something.
Well, he wants to feel ready to go.
I'm fine with it.
He
want
wants
him
to feel
back.
ready to go. Darvish will speak to the media in an impromptu type press conference in about 25 minutes. We will be there. I know Annie Heilbrunn is down there. I think Adam, Sammy. I think everybody's going to down there pretty much. Tony will be there. So we'll give you everything. You'll probably hear the press conference after it's over.
Adam is going to send me the video as soon as he can, and then we will bring it right to you.
Yeah, so you'll get to hear it. Don't go anywhere. You'll get to hear everything from Darvish. It'll be interesting to see, what is exactly on his mind, but it is great to have him back. That we know for sure. Padres did lose to the Mets last night. 8-3 was the score. And to that end, we have some other scores to give you in today's Daily Gambit.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo!
If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Well, nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in the Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
A couple items to discuss before we actually review what we did yesterday. And that would be first, a very happy birthday to a big-time listener, M. McKee 23 on the YouTube chat. So happy birthday, M. McKee.
We also had a birthday yesterday. Oh, Janet was one of the ladies. Jane. Jane was the nicest lady. Her friend had the birthday. And you also owe a hello, by the way.
I got it right here.
To two young guys who were there yesterday, and you said you're going to give them a shout-out today.
Right here, Chris. It's in the notes. Shout-out to Chase and Riley and their dad, Jim, for stopping by yesterday, Casa Octavio. They were very excited. We got to talk a little bit of baseball with them as they were heading towards the stadium.
We had another
shout-out.
Another gentleman stopped by later with his daughter, young daughter, and I don't remember their names, but he said, my daughter kind of owns you at Chris versus the Fans. His daughter was like, maybe 10, 11 years old, and I guess she's a trivia expert, so get her on.
All right,
we want
let's
to play.
go.
We want to play.
Please. Yes, please.
Have her come on.
Thanks, everybody who came by yesterday. I know I'm kind of awkward when I don't make eye contact with you, but that's because I'm doing something. But I appreciate everybody who comes over and says hi.
Yes, we did.
All right, Padres were minus 1.5 on the run line over the Mets last night. We both chose Padres. We were both wrong. It's 8-3. Padres and Mets over under 7.5 total runs in the game. You went under. I went over. I was right here, unfortunately, because the Mets scored more, but it was 11 total runs in the game.
It was 4 runs in the game until the 9th inning. And then 7 runs were scored in the 9th inning. Just thought I'd make a note of that.
Well, I still win.
You did.
Paul Skeens over under 5 2/3 in last night's game. You said over, I said under, and he went just over. He went 6. Corbin Burns over under 5.5 strikeouts. He's not been good as of late. And Chris said over 5.5 Ks. I said under. He only had 2 Ks yesterday. He's been giving up a lot of runs as of late. So not the type of thing you want to see from your ace heading into the stretch run of the season. The New York Liberty, 13-point favorite over the Dallas Wings. We both chose the Wings, and we were correct. The Liberty did win the game, but they only won by 8, 79-71. And then in that game, Dallas Wings, Ogunbowale over under 20.5 points. Both of us went over. Both of us were wrong. She had 19. Then some NFL preseason. Bears and Chiefs, over under 32 total points. Chris said under. I said over. It was way over. 34-21. I believe the Chiefs won.
Bears
won. Okay.
Bears.
Bears. And then Colts and Bengals. We both chose the Bengals. The Colts are 6.5-point favorites. We should have listened to the spread, Chris, because the Colts won 27-14.
Yeah, I was bad yesterday. 2-6.
Oh wait, we got one more birthday. Now I'm feeling they're feeling left out.
Everybody wants to get a birthday shout out in.
Is also celebrating a birthday today.
I got an idea. How about we just wish happy birthday to anybody whose birthday out there is August 23rd? That will cover you all.
Okay.
All right, here's some games tonight. Take a look at Padres and Mets. 7.5 runs. Scraby, you are 8-9 this week.
Ooh.
7.5 runs tonight. Over as it did last night or
Joe
under?
on the mound. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to be under tonight.
Under. I'll say over again. Back-to-back overs. Red Sox, 1.5 runs over the red-hot Diamondbacks at Fenway Park.
Ooh.
Diamondbacks are hot, but I'll take Boston. Slow them down.
I am going to take the D-backs.
Arizona. Highest strikeout number of the night belongs to Carlos Rodon of the Yankees. 8.5.
Whoa.
Over-under against the Rocks.
Hasn't he not been very good?
I don't know. The Rocks aren't very good.
You keep saying that, and then they just crush
Well,
the
then bet
Padres.
under.
I'm going to. Under.
Gonna bet under. The Rockies strike out a lot. Over. Joe Musgrove, 5 1/3 innings pitched tonight.
Ooh, that's
a tough one because
really
you know
tough.
he's on the pitch limit.
What did he go last time?
I think he's gone 4 1/3 each of the first 2 times back. 83 pitches. I got to take the odds and go under. Sorry, Joe.
I'm going
I just
over.
think they're going to take him out.
I feel like he's back.
Okay. All right. You got him. NFL preseason, final weekend of activity. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 3-point favorites over the Miami Dolphins tonight, Scraby.
Who's home?
Tampa Bay is home.
They get the 3 points just for that, so this game is pretty even.
Yes, it is.
I have no idea
It's also
who to
a
pick.
preseason game.
I'm going to go with the good feeling Mike McDaniel and the Dolphins.
Not a boy. I'll take the Dolphins. Just, 49ers are 8.5 points over the Raiders. Again, it's not the real 49ers. I'll take the Raiders. I mean, give me 8.5 points in a preseason game.
I don't even think that any of the 49ers starters are going to play. I believe in my team so much. They're that deep in positions.
You're going to still take them.
49ers.
All right. Jaguars-Falcons matchup tonight.
Oh, Adam's probably excited.
Adam's into it. 35.5 points over under. These games have been going over.
I'm going to
surprisingly.
go over. No, you're right. They have been surprisingly a lot of scoring in the preseason.
I'll say under for this one. WNBA, couple more. Las Vegas Aces, 3 points. Favored over the Minnesota Lynx. The Lynx just beat the Aces 2 nights ago.
Yes.
Now they play in Minnesota.
I feel like they play back-to-back all the time.
Doing a lot of that. I'll take Las Vegas this time. I don't think
Aces
Minnesota beats them
favorite?
again.
Yeah, I'll say Aces too.
Las Vegas. Okay. Brittany Griner. Remember old Brittany?
I do. Yes,
yeah, good
I
old
do.
Brittany.
How could I forget?
16.5 points over under for her tonight with Phoenix at Atlanta. I don't know what she averages per game.
I think she averages right around there.
Got to just, pick on a whim here.
I'm going to look it up, see what she
You are
averages.
going to look it up.
Yep, I'm going to look it up.
You can do that.
Phoenix Mercury, Brittany Griner, 18 points a game.
Oh, 16.5 tonight at Atlanta.
I'm going to say over.
I say over for Brittany. All right, come on, Brittany.
Are you going over?
I am.
Okay.
Going over. All right, when we come back, we have our countdown. And Tony's in on it. We're in on it. And it's a feel-good topic. And you know what? When I came up with the idea, I didn't expect it to be as fun as it was. So don't miss it. It's coming up next on Gwynn and Chris. All right, welcome back to Gwynn and Chris. If you love Mediterranean food, I love it. Scraby loves it. We all do.
I love it.
Try Spiro's for authentic Mediterranean cuisine. Coronado, La Jolla, also at Petco Park. For dining or takeout options or catering, spiroscuisine.com. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr., he's at Petco Park. Padres are at Petco Park. Mets are at Petco Park. That's good because the Mets and Padres are going to play a ball game.
Yes.
In a few hours.
Yes.
Sam Levitt's pregame show starts at 5:30. But we take a little respite from the madness that is the sporting world today with our countdown that I think you'll all find is kind of just, a feel-good affair after traffic.
From the night.
Like moment where you finally get into bed and it's time to go to sleep, and that little yes, I
that
made
one
it.
moment
I made
when
it
you
to
slip in there.
bedtime, and for
It's a
me,
good one.
a horror movie on.
What?
A horror movie on
Having a horror movie on
while I slip to sleep
really
is amazing.
That's a perfect way to calm your brain.
Someone gets sawed in half. It's like, ooh.
And you fall right asleep. All right. I didn't realize this category was going to turn into how weird can Scraby be?
No, the rest of them are normal.
That's the Popeye sleep right there.
All right, Chris.
I don't really want to follow that one. His fifth favorite life's little moment is falling asleep to people being sawed in half.
No,
in
the
a movie.
actual thing is the moment where you've made it.
Wow. All right, Tony, you want to try it?
I'll
After that?
I'll hop in. I've just recently started doing this. Taking walks around the neighborhood outside with my wife in the mornings. That'll be number 5. I hadn't done it a lot. I always told myself, man, I'm working out enough. I don't want to go for a walk, but I actually enjoy it. It's nice and peaceful. The bottom lines are going to be centered around peace.
Peace. Okay, I like it.
Peaceful is a good thing. Inner peace is a good thing.
Everybody needs it. Chris?
My number 5 is the same as Tony's number 5, although I do not walk with his wife in the morning.
No?
No. Otherwise, it's exactly the same. I discovered this by accident, because I used to be a night person. Not go to bed till well after midnight and not wake up till, 9, 10 a.m. at the earliest. But when I got the assignment to do the morning show many years ago with Ben Higgins, I had to start getting up at 4 in the morning. And I really started to enjoy, after I rubbed out the cobwebs, just how peaceful it is at that time of day. 4:35 in the morning, it's dark, there's nobody out there, there's no hustle bustle. And so now that I don't do the morning show anymore, but I still wake up, and I love to go for a walk. I love it even more when it's totally dark, and I don't recommend this for everybody, but because it can be a little dangerous if you're in the wrong spot. But I like going for a walk. I don't want to see one person. I don't want to hear one car go by. Nothing. Just a couple of maybe rabbits scurrying in the bushes. It's a wonderful thing, and it's very peaceful.
Number 4.
Sure beats falling to sleep with somebody sawing another human being in half.
I didn't say your thing was bad. Why are you getting on me?
All right, number 4.
A nice golf shot.
A nice golf shot. Amazing. That does feel amazing.
Okay, so my favorite type of shot is when I'm like 100 yards away or something, and I get that divot that is like a perfect divot where it looks like the size of a dollar bill or something. That's just perfect. And you see
right
it
under
flying,
the ball.
You see it flying through the air with the ball. That is like my favorite.
And it lands
golf
like
moment.
2-3 feet away, plops down on the green.
Spins back a little bit.
That's a nice feeling. I will say that.
That's my number 4.
And when you do that, you hit the sweet spot of the club, right?
And it just like click. You just hear it. You
I
can
was
feel
golfing with somebody the other day, and they called that sweet spot of the club the Virgin Territory, because very few of us ever hit a ball on the sweet spot of the club. It's
a very interesting way of describing it.
That was an interesting way of putting it, but,
I'm not real sure about that.
You don't like that one? Most of us hit it off the toe of the club.
I know.
Oh, man. We're hilarious.
Tony, you're
up.
Tony,
number 4 for me overall is the best, right? But in segments of times, it can be complicated. Hearing your name, Dad, called. Number 4 on my list.
That's awesome.
Depending on the tone of how it's being said, brings more joy. When it's, sometimes it's like the nagging dad, or like they need something from you, Dad, or I need money. Sometimes those ones get a little tired sometimes, but just overall, being called Dad is awesome. Number 4 on my list.
Having no kids, I walk around and have my dog call me Dad all the time, and I like it.
What does that sound like, rough?
No, Dad. She goes, Dad, give me dinner.
I'm sorry, what?
I speak for her.
Oh.
Yeah, my wife does this too, and I'm like, the dog didn't say anything. I'm standing
right.
Oh, well, I talk for the dog all the time.
There you go. All right, number 4 for me is actually going on right now. My wife is away for a few days. She's on a girlfriend's trip back home to Denver. And so, Tony, I think you might appreciate this, but you probably don't get to experience it very often. The house is set up and neat exactly how I like it right now. There are no shoes lying on the floor. There are no extra dishes in the sink. I'm pretty neat. My wife is actually fairly neat. She's just not as neat as I am. But I love having everything in perfect order just the way I like it. And once you get married, you kind of give up that right.
Yeah, you do.
So on the rare occasion, if she's out for a few days, I get the house set up just like I like it. And it really is awesome. It's a great feeling. Sorry, Scrape, you don't know that one.
Oh my gosh.
It's okay.
I mean, I understand it, but your sense of trying to find order would bother me.
Yeah, it bothers a lot of people.
I mean, yeah, bro, that's why, it sort of bothers a lot of people.
Like when his pens are all lined up in the same way on his desk.
That shouldn't bother you, because that doesn't really have anything. It's just like your shoes being in a certain spot, or that one shirt that's not folded quite right.
Yeah,
or
I
hanging
actually
off
used
the
to
bit.
hang my shirts in order of color, but I've moved beyond that.
Okay.
Good for you.
Yeah, that is good. I think you might die if you ever saw my bedroom. I think you might die. It's
Go
not
screaming, go running screaming out into the night.
It's like, oh, where's my shirt? Oh, yeah, it's in this basket over here.
Yeah.
I know that has to change if I ever do get married. It will change.
Number 3.
Just throwing it out there.
Is this me?
No, it's me. My number 3 is just drives. I love drives. My grandpa.
drive.
This is something I talked about at my grandpa's funeral.
By yourself, or
yeah,
does it?
by
okay.
myself. Or I'm lucky he can come too, but he doesn't really like to go if we're just driving. He wants to go somewhere. But my grandpa just used to take drives. Sometimes I take drives like to, I don't know, up the coast, and then I turn around after an hour or something. Like I go to Julian sometimes during the winter and
That's
come
nice.
back and stuff like that. So
Put your music on and
podcasts.
Oh, you're a podcast guy.
Yeah.
All right, whatever.
Podcaster.
Whatever.
Podcast guy
Whatever.
over here.
Probably horror podcasts of people being sawed in half.
Yeah, but they're the actual stories instead of the movies. You're weird. So.
All right, Tony, number 3, life's little pleasures.
I enjoy on Wednesdays or Thursdays and Sundays hopping in the old school and driving on down to the stadium for a day game.
What are you hopping in?
An old school Impala.
Oh yeah, you're Impala.
Oh,
Okay,
yes, you're
I know.
Impala.
Why Wednesday, Thursday? Why do you have those days? I'm
It's
curious.
because those are day games. You drive it
okay.
while it's, right now I'm being too cheap. I don't want to fix my air conditioner. So it's
The
hot.
Impala doesn't have lights, so he's
It
got to
has
drive
lights.
it in the daytime.
There was a time it didn't have lights. That's why I was only driving in the daytime. But it has lights now. I enjoy just rolling with the windows down, listening to music.
That's good. It sounds like a bit of a. Is it not a throwback to your dad at all? Didn't he have a couple of funny clunker cars that he used to drive around, or was that
He
just?
had. I don't know. He didn't have a. I don't know if he had any clunkers. He had a nice, nice Cadillac that he used to drive around that he had fixed up.
Yeah.
But that was the only one. He wanted to have one. He just didn't have time to take care of it.
All right, I'll stay in the car category for number 3 because I you know what, I'm not really about having nice things. Anybody who knows me knows this. I know you guys are Scraby will probably try to rip on me for this, but I grew up in Beverly Hills. I saw a lot of people who got all geeked up about nice things, and it turned me off. It wasn't something I ever got behind. So I've never been about nice things. But when I got my newest car,
oh yeah,
I don't know what it is. I got it 3 years ago now, and I still just have a good feeling when I get into that car every day. And I, again, it's
as you should.
But it's unlike me, but it hasn't changed anything because my car doesn't make me better than anyone, nor do I feel it does. I just feel like it's a really nice car, and I really love getting into it and driving.
Feel like
somewhere.
$1 million when you get in it. That's what it's supposed to
Chris
feel.
gets in and it's. He's like, everybody, look at me.
Let's go.
Puts the top down.
Puts the top down, and oh man, I just cruise the boulevard.
That's 100% Chris too, right
Yeah,
there.
sure.
He whips his hair back and he puts a bandana on.
Sunglasses.
I mean, the visual for that is phenomenal.
It's a little crazy.
And then Kylie's in the other seat with her own do-rag
No,
on.
she's on my lap. She's on my lap. Yeah.
Hair just blowing in the wind.
Blowing. She's got her puppy sunglasses on. Cruising the boulevard, baby.
All right. I think it is time for number.
This is kind of a crazy but fun countdown. I think it's good chicken soup for the soul today for all of us.
I think so.
All right, what do you got?
I got my number 2 is when Lucky is like frolicking and having fun and like when we were at Fiesta Island, even though he threw up later, it was so much fun watching him in the water, like trying to figure out how to swim and trying to go for a ball. I got no kids, so Lucky is what brings me joy.
Dogs do a good job of that.
They do.
In general.
Yeah.
They bring smiles to people's faces.
Yeah,
so.
everybody laughs at a dog that's
Most of
doing
the
something
time.
funny.
Most of the time, yeah. All right, Tony?
Yeah. Number 2 for me, I usually am the first one here at the ball yard. And just looking out at the the field, empty stadium, usually a couple people on there. Sometimes when I get here, there's no one out there. And just kind of just enjoying the ambiance of an empty stadium and beautifully cut grass.
Yeah.
No,
when we used to work
that's
at
a
the
little
stadium,
pleasure for sure.
We used to do the show from the stadium for a long time, and that was really
It was fun being up there
because then you just get to see like Bryce Harper taking batting practice.
Yeah, we had a good time back in those days.
Left-handed.
Yeah.
All right, number 2, you're going to like this one, Scraby, I think. It is that moment. Well, first of all, there has to be a little lead into this. I think you have to be kind of in a stretch where you're working out and you feel good and you feel like you've trimmed down a few pounds, your clothes are feeling a little better.
Yeah.
But now's the night you're going to get your payoff. And you go out, and that moment when that sizzling 16-ounce medium rare ribeye lands in front of you, that is a moment. I must tell you. The steak itself isn't even that good. Yeah, right. The steak itself isn't even that delicious.
It's heaven in a piece of meat.
Yeah, I mean, but just when you work hard and then you kind of reward yourself with a good meal, I think that's a wonderful thing. The steak's not the same if you're in a mode where you're kind of not feeling in good shape.
Yeah. Then
so I
just
think
leave
it's the
with
timing
regret.
of it. It's the timing of it.
That's a good one, Chris.
All right.
That is a good one.
Number 1.
So my number 1 is something specific from, well, my nieces are older now. They're 10 and they're 9 and they're 7. And so we get to have like fun conversations now, like actual conversations. And so on the way to dinner one night before my grandpa's funeral, my little 7-year-old niece asked me about reptilians, and we had a whole conversation about reptilians. And we were talking about how Barack Obama might be a reptilian. And it was just really fun to have this conversation with my 9-year-old and 7-year-old niece about reptilians. So, and I also get to like tease the youngest one. I say because raspberry, it's spelled RASPB.
Yes.
So I tried to convince her that it's raspberry, and everybody else says it wrong.
You do. You're a great influence on your nieces, I'm sure.
So she
sounds like
it's saying raspberry.
Can only imagine your sister probably just pulls her hair out every time she gets the kids.
My sister
back
was
from
a part of the reptilian conversation. So
okay.
Yeah.
Good.
We had a good.
Do your
great
kids
time.
think that there's UFOs and crazy?
My kids or my nieces?
No, your nieces. Have you taught them all about the conspiracies of the world?
They know about that
Clearly.
stuff. But yeah,
Clearly,
we had
yes.
we had a whole conversation about reptilians and how they run the government, people think, and like all this other stuff. And she asked a bunch of questions. Do reptilians eat little kids? No, the reptilians don't eat little kids.
So your answer is yes, there, Chris.
Yeah, the answer is yes.
I'm not surprised. All right, Tony, your number 1 life's little pleasure.
As you can imagine, after a long day of work or before the day gets started, I have a little balcony outside my bedroom. And so every morning I'll get my coffee, I'll sit out there, and sometimes I'll read a devotional. Sometimes I'll just listen to nature. And it's funny because different morning nature has a lot different sounds than night nature, right? Morning nature is mixed in with our own stuff. We got, trash can trucks beeping. You might get some wind that's kind of running through there. But at night, it's just you're hearing all animals, basically. And I enjoy it. Sometimes it gets a little spooky when I know the coyotes are out there in a herd somewhere killing something and they're having a grand old time out there.
You're having a grand old time.
But I need it for decompression or
that's good. Yeah.
Or kind of getting my day rolling.
Very good.
That's a great one.
Yeah. All right. That's a good one. I'm going to be off the board for my number 1 here.
Uh-oh.
You guys already know what this is, but it's not anything that gives me peace, but it does give me a lot of happiness. It is the perfect fall Sunday afternoon when
Football.
I have managed, you guys are going to laugh at me, but when I have managed to avoid any scores from any game anywhere in the NFL. And now it is the end of the evening, and it is 8 o'clock, maybe 9 o'clock p.m.
You're crazy.
I know I am. My wife has decided I got a big day at work tomorrow. I'm heading up to bed. And I get the clicker, and I get to fast forward with Scott Hansen through an entire days of NFL action, not knowing a single result, being able to watch and follow my fantasy football game, being able to see how the Dolphins and everybody else, that is maybe the greatest moment I can have.
I can feel that.
And it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen every Sunday. Very much. Most of the time on Sundays, I'll hear scores. I'll find out. People will text or call or somebody will say something. Every now and again, I make it through.
I can definitely feel that.
And man, when I get to watch that Sunday develop in front of me on my own time with Scott Hansen, that's a great moment.
All right.
That's a big pleasure, man. That's not even a little pleasure.
You don't feel like I've missed out because they're not actually playing
I get
anymore?
to see everything. I don't miss out at all. I don't feel I'm missing
like there's
anything.
some sort of like energy about watching live.
Just no energy. Stop.
Doesn't work for me. I never thought that way.
It's his pleasure.
Yeah.
It's a weird one.
All right, that was a good chicken soup for the soul. I hope everybody thinks and spends a little more time concentrating on life's little pleasures.
Word
like
up.
listening to Gwynn and Chris. And Chris versus the fans coming up next. 833-288-0973.
Padres Mets today.
So we're excited about that. Yu's back in the clubhouse, which is fantastic on a lot of levels. Most importantly, just him personally. Seems like he's doing well. Seems in a really good place, and he's going to be back. And he's either finishing up or is throwing his bullpen today. So a lot of positives.
Mike Schell talking about the return of Yu Darvish. As you tune in to Gwynn and Chris here, you may not have heard that the Padres ace is back off the restricted list and with the ball club, not only with the ball club, but in uniform, throwing a bullpen session today. It has been 2.5 months since Darvish has been with the Padres. He is meeting with the media currently. We understand not sharing any of the personal information that some may want to hear, but he is talking baseball and talking about his return to the Padres, which for a Padre fan ought to be of utmost importance.
Yeah, I don't care what. I just want him back.
I just want him back, and as I said earlier, I'm just feeling good that he's at least in a place where he feels he can come back. And so Darvish is indeed back. The Padres just added a number one starter to their team. And there was no guarantee they were going to get him back at all.
No guarantee.
This season.
In fact, weren't we kind of leaning towards
I think people were starting to lean towards it wasn't going to happen. And now it's happened. And I don't know name a team in baseball that just added a number one starter. No team even did that at the trade deadline. I mean, the Dodgers added Flaherty, right? There's a couple of other pitchers that were moved. But nobody landed an ace, a number one guy.
Yeah, I mean, Zach Eflin was traded, but he's not a number one.
No.
Jeez, what do you got against Zach Eflin?
Yeah, a lot, evidently. I know. I made a disgusted look on my face.
You were like,
Zach
Eflin.
God,
Zach Eflin. Wow.
Oh, my goodness. But no word yet, and we'll hear more from Darvish. We're going to play the entire press conference for you as soon as we get the audio. So
yes,
you'll get to hear
absolutely.
Its entirety. Darvish's return to the Padres. The other good news today is that Fernando Tatis Jr. is taking batting practice with the team. So all of a sudden, those losses the last two nights don't seem quite as depressing.
No. I think Jake said when we played his clip earlier that they found out last night. Can you imagine that kind of boost when you get back in after the second straight loss and you kind of struggled at the plate, and then, hey, Yu Darvish is coming back, everybody?
Yeah,
it's perfect timing.
Deal. Big deal. Timing. Let's hope they translate it into a win. After all, sky is not falling after 2 losses, but after 3... you better duck out of the way, Scraby, because you know how these fans can be out here. Honestly, to a person, if you're a Padre fan, with 5 weeks to go in the season and a 5.5 game lead in the wild card, you're all preparing for the worst. You're built that way out there.
Who did I talk to most recently about this? I think it was it was at the dog park. I was like, Padres are looking pretty good. And the guy was like, nope, I can't do that. I've seen this story before. And I'm like, really? They don't they feel like they're a different team? They do, but I've seen this story before.
I know. They're going to blow it. Anyway, I don't think they're going to blow it. I don't see how they can blow it. They have too many good things on this club right now.
It's true.
But, alas, got to go out and win these games. Joe Musgrove will pitch tonight for the Padres. We will pitch in, like I said, we'll hear from Darvish as soon as that's available to us. But right now, chance for you to qualify. Grand prize giveaway at the end of the month. It's a 2-night stay at Resorts World, Las Vegas. It's 2 tickets to Carrie Underwood's Reflection. No, that's the name of the show. You don't actually get her reflection.
You might. I mean, who knows?
The show is at Resorts World, and by overwhelming demand, Carrie Underwood has extended her residency through spring of 2025. You can get tickets to this year's residency, August 14th to October 26th at Resorts World Theater. Tickets for this and next year on sale now at axs.com, AXS.com, or get qualified to win a pair right here.
If you had one shot, one opportunity to take down the human almanac himself,
howdy do.
Now is your time.
Listen to me, this guy is dangerous.
Now is your opportunity to win a prize.
Well, I hope you know what you're in for.
Chris versus the Fans starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right. The rules. You have to make it through 3 questions. Each question will get more difficult. If you get the question right, you move on. If you get it wrong and Chris gets it right, you're eliminated. But if Chris gets it wrong, then you move on to the next question or you win. If you're a first-time player, let us know before the first question, and you get that question for free. Chris versus the Fans is presented by SD Fat Loss. Lose 20 to 30 pounds in just 60 days. Visit sdfatloss.com to schedule your free consultation.
I think it's nice that they say 20 to 30 in 60 days, but both of you lost more than that. Both you and I lost more than that.
I lost 40.
I said both of you.
Both, I thought you were talking about me and Ben Higgins.
Yeah, just you and your alter ego.
Me and the extra weight that I lost.
Right, we all lost. We all lost more than that, so
yeah.
Good chance you'll
lose. It works.
Lose.
Just follow it, and it works.
That's right.
All right, let's get to our first contestant for today. And we are on the lookout for you Darvish news, everybody. Let's go to Cesar.
Well, we got the news. We just want to get the sound.
The sound, yes.
And we will get it when we get it. And you'll get it.
All right. Here we go. Cesar, what's up?
Oh, Cesar. Batting leadoff today.
Gentlemen, happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you.
In the leadoff spot,
Cesar's the one who sent me the Calvin Coolidge poster that I showed you. Remember, Chris, earlier in the week from The Simpsons?
That Calvin Coolidge fantabulous game show winner for you.
Yes.
You're always going to love Calvin Coolidge now.
Oh, he's the coolest guy in the world. Coolest Coolidge ever.
Best president ever, as far as you're concerned.
Cesar does not care about this, but here we go. Question number 1. Who is the head coach of the New York Giants?
Football team?
Yes.
Football. Oh, this is just great, everybody. I don't know.
You don't know?
That's a good line, Cesar.
No.
Oh, okay.
But Emily did not watch Hard
Knocks.
Stay right there.
Brian Daboll.
Yeah.
Is the guy's name.
I'm sorry,
Cesar, thanks for the funny line, though, on the Scraby.
Well, this is just great, everybody.
Why don't you have that there? Clipped and ready to go to play it. I mean, that would be a perfect time.
Hold on. I am
You're
really
a little
bad.
behind,
I'm really bad at the drops. I am really bad. Hold on.
You're not that bad at them. You're usually
I'm pretty
right on top
bad,
of this
pretty
stuff.
bad. I'm just trying to go through making sure.
Well, you got a lot of things you're doing over there. So
yeah.
I get it.
Okay, Adam actually sent it to me, so.
We got the Darvish? Sound?
No, the drop is what I'm saying.
We are.
Well, this is just great, everybody.
There you go.
There it is.
Yeah, put that in the regular thing, and then you can access it.
I got to put it into the computer. You're right,
Yes,
Chris. I will do that.
All right, back to the game we go. Here.
All right, I am all over the place today.
Yeah,
My
well,
windows
you got
are moving all around.
This is how the white orbit system's going to go out right in the middle of the show, like it did on your.
At least I have you here to help.
You would have me here to help this time.
I'm play-by-play of what I'm texting Adam.
That was classic radio, I must admit.
All right, let's go to Justin in Encinitas. Justin, what's up?
How we doing, guys?
Pretty good.
Thanks, Justin. Good.
You ready to play?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
What tennis tournament is held at Flushing Meadows, New York?
Flushing Meadows would be the U.S. Open.
U.S. Open is correct. Nice job.
Used to call it Forest Lawn or Forest Hills.
Why?
I don't know. They moved it like across the street, and it went from Forest Hills
to
Flushing Meadow, and they moved it like one block.
Every time
I don't know.
I hear Flushing Meadow, I just think about toilets. I mean,
okay.
You don't think about toilets?
No, but I will now.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
All right, question number 2. Paula Abdul was a cheerleader for what sports team?
Straight up now, tell me, are you gonna? How about that? I had a
Paula
Abdul song.
was a Laker girl.
Wow.
Damn right she was.
Chris, were you covering the team when she was?
I think she was before I was covering the team.
Okay. All right, here we go. Final.
I used to see the Laker girls running around underneath the stands, getting ready for their routines.
Sure, you.
It was a big moment.
Okay. All right, here's a tough one, I think, Justin.
For the win.
Who is Sports Illustrated's first female sports person of the year?
First one. Wow. Not easy.
Man, I think I know this.
He thinks he's got it.
Was it Billie Jean King?
That's who I would think.
You are correct.
Winner!
Wow.
Nicely done.
Nice job, Justin. Stay right
Justin
there.
runs the table there.
We got to get your information in the break. That's 2 days in a row now. First contestant, and we're done.
Runs the table beautifully. Some of the other female winners of Sports Woman of the Year include Mary Lou Retton.
Okay.
The great gymnast won it. Some of the others on the list: Bonnie Blair, figure skating. U.S. Women's National Soccer Team won it.
Okay.
Pat Summitt, Serena Williams, but Billie Jean King was the first.
Peekaboo Street.
Nope, not Peekaboo. Not a sports person of the year.
Lindsey Vonn.
Nope. Didn't quite make it.
Okay.
That's a high honor. It was a high honor. I don't know that nobody even knows who it is anymore.
Still around anymore?
What, Sports Illustrated?
Like, do they actually make the magazine
I don't know.
still? I don't know.
I couldn't tell you. I haven't seen an actual copy of Sports Illustrated in so long. I don't even know whether it exists anymore. Does anybody still get it? Does it come out once a month?
Remember they fired
a
a bunch of writers and stuff? And
well, they had. I mean, with all due respect, they kind of had to because there was just nobody's reading it anymore.
I used to love that magazine.
It was my go-to. Look, Sports Illustrated was so big. I don't think people, like young people, maybe I'm talking under the age of 15, maybe 20, have any clue that Sports Illustrated, what a impact that made on all of us in the sports world.
Yeah.
You cared who was on the cover. What they wrote, they were the number one really sports reporting outlet.
Mm-hmm.
They broke all kinds of stories over the years, things that changed the shape of sports.
OZ on the chat says they got one 2 months ago, making magazines still.
Wait, current, I'm going to write, okay, let me, current Sports Illustrated. Let's see what they got. I'm trying to
race you to it. Sports Illustrated cover.
Looks like you're going to beat me to it because I don't see anything here.
It's a Lions cover.
The Lions are on the cover.
The Lions are on the cover.
Of the current Sports Illustrated.
When was this article released? Yeah, today.
Today. It's a brand new article.
Magazine. It has Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jared Goff, and Penei Sewell. And it says that the Motor City is
I see it.
Buzzing with excitement.
It says Drive to Revive. The Resurgent Lions. There you go. You can get one of those Sports Illustrated. One issue to order online will cost you $11.
Not worth it to me.
$11? Kidding me?
Can't I just go to like a grocery store or a Barnes & Noble and pick it up for $5?
I don't know. I would imagine. Do grocery stores still have magazine racks?
Yes, I walked by one the other day and I was looking at Motor Trend. I love just
was that a current issue or was that also an old
They were
issue?
going over the they were going over the best trucks of the year or something.
Very good.
Which I don't have a truck. So.
All right, we are waiting on the sound, the actual interview or the press conference, so you can hear what Darvish said to the media in his return to the Padres. That is coming up either next or shortly thereafter. Still a big five. Plenty of Gwynn and Chris ahead.
From the 90s.
Welcome back to Gwynn and Chris. Chris Ello here. Tony Gwynn Jr., Petco Park. Matt Scraby here. Yu Darvish at Petco Park. That's right. Yu Darvish back at Petco Park. Reinstated by the Padres. Off the restricted list. Not reinstated, but just off the restricted list. Back on the ball club. And back with the ball club. Yu Darvish spoke to the media just a short time ago, and you are going to hear that in its entirety a short time from now.
Yes, Adam is sending it as we speak, so we will have that for you very shortly.
All
This
right.
hour, though, is
go
brought
ahead.
to you by Macy's.
Yay!
It's Macy's Ultimate Shopping
Love
Event
that.
with an extra 25% off designers that rarely go on sale and 50% off beauty, too. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply. Today at Macy's, the Ultimate Shopping Event.
Who you got tonight, Scraby? Big game on the board. Biggest game on the board anywhere tonight. 7:15. They'll kick it off. Third-ranked Granite Hills, the defending CIF champion, goes into enemy territory to take on
Why are you English?
fourth-ranked Mission Hills. Ooh, rumbling, bumbling, stumbling. Last year, Granite Hills beat Mission Hills 27-17.
We're about to talk about this in the Big Five, but is the temperature okay, Chris?
I hope so.
'Cause they have
Mission
some crazy
Hills
rules.
will be looking for a little revenge on the Eagles tonight. I bring it up because it's the opening night of high school football around
Sure
the
is.
county. So good luck to everyone who's out there getting ready for their game tonight. Maybe you're on your way to see your son play, your daughter cheer, whatever the case is. Everybody have a fun time. Stay safe out there. Cheer appropriately. Behave yourselves. Remember, it's high school football, okay?
Yes.
It's the end of the world, but not really, the end of the world. So everybody have a good time out there. Mission Hills, Granite Hills is indeed the big one in San Diego County tonight.
I have we did a broadcast at Granite Hills, right? A couple of years ago, I believe, and they gave us
I think
socks.
we were out there at Granite Hills for one of our shows. Hopefully we'll do that again at some point this season where we go out on Friday, day of game.
They
do
gave
our
us
shows.
socks. I remember this, though.
Yeah,
and I still wear these socks to
Granite
the day.
Hills, they're actually at Mission Hills tonight. Your team's number 9 ranked, Scraby. The LCC Mavs taking on St. Augustine right over here at Mesa College.
Oh.
You don't have to go very far.
No.
Just head over after you're done, doing your post-show duties, and you can see La Costa Canyon take on St. Augustine. And not only can you see the game, Scraby, but you can be on the field. How do I know this? Because we just talked to the La Costa Canyon principal.
Yes.
He was the winner of Chris versus the Fans today.
I've had conversations with him
And
in
you
the past.
spoke to him, and he said, hey, come to a game. I'll get you on the field.
And I said, you hear that, Chris?
Well,
You
go.
hear that?
I expect you to be
Well, he
out
said
there
in
tonight.
2 weeks at a home game. I need to be in front of the LCC crowd.
To get the
Actually,
adorning,
I'll be so nervous I wouldn't even.
the adorning adulation of the crowd.
They're going to be like, Scraby, Scraby,
Scraby, Scraby. I'll
And
tell
then
you, you go to Mesa College tonight, you may blow the roof off that place.
I
La
don't
Costa
think that's
Canyon
true.
Saints. By the way, my friend Ron Carragher is the new coach at St. Augustine.
Wow.
Former USD football coach.
That's a big job.
Now it's Saints. Also tonight, when I don't have time to give you the entire schedule, unfortunately. But Braden Surprenant's Cathedral Catholic Dons are at Mater Day Catholic tonight. Anyway, good luck to everybody. High school football season underway. Always an incredible thing. And we were talking in our countdown today about life's little moments, things that kind of just make you happy. I will give you one of life's really good moments for anybody that ended up a sports writer like I did. And that is that all of us, to a man or woman, whoever you were, walked up and down the sidelines on a Friday night, keeping stats and writing a high school sports story on a high school football game. And there's nothing quite like it. It's totally something different, but if you covered, like I got up, covered the Lakers, Scott Miller covered his stuff, you got Kevin Acey's doing the Padres right now. All of us used to walk up and down the sideline on a Friday night covering a high school football game. And there's just something to it. There's just there's something magical about high school football when you're there.
Yeah, if you're someone in high school right now and you want to get into this type of world of sports media, then go to your school and say, how can I do reporting on my team?
Yeah.
How can I do a podcast on my team?
Hey, I started covering my high school football team when I was in high school.
Yeah.
I was on the school paper.
Yeah.
Run up and down the sideline and, I wasn't very professional. I would cheer wildly.
Well, you were a high schooler, so I guess that's okay.
Yes, I know. But, yeah, high school football, man, there's something special to it. And so if you're not doing anything tonight, go to a game in your neighborhood and enjoy yourself. You don't have to have a rooting interest.
No.
You can, do you like to people watch, Scraby?
Do I like to people watch?
Yeah,
of
you
course.
sit there in the
Who
mall
doesn't?
and you just kind of watch people. Yeah, everybody likes to people watch.
I do it all the time.
Well, high school football is a fun place to just go watch people, the goings on, everything. Just what's happening at a high school football game. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend
I agree. My dad does because he likes high school basketball. He's gone to some LCC basketball games. He used to go and
tell your dad to come down to some of the other games. He can boo me while I'm refereeing.
Oh, by the way, there's a growing contingent of people out there that would like to come to one of your games.
Is there?
And I said, I don't think Chris wants that attention.
I see people from time to time who recognize me, and I think that's enough. I don't think I need my own cheering section as I try to referee a game. I don't think that would go over too well for anybody.
I get it.
Honestly.
I get it. Hold on. I have the Darvish audio. I need to make sure I edit it real quick.
All right, we'll do that. We have a Big Five, too. So it's all coming up. You'll hear from Darvish. You'll hear the Big Five. We'll hear whatever else we got to give you. We got an hour to the pregame show, so it's Gwynn and Chris. Stick around.
as I'm sure you
けれども、さっきも言ったみたいにこうやって帰ってきて。
From you, Darvish. As I said earlier, selfishly, it's great for the Padres. My goodness. No other team in baseball just added a number one starter to their team.
Yeah.
But the Padres just did. But more than that, it's just good to know that he, on a personal level, is in a good enough position, spot, whatever it is, to feel like he can come back to playing baseball. So that is the good news. Here is Darvish. From what we were told, he was not going to talk about anything personal, but yet here's the exchange with his interpreter,
Shingo.
You welcome back. As I'm sure you're aware, your teammates, the organization, Padre fans, the entire baseball world has been thinking about you, sending prayers your way. How much has that helped knowing that you've had that kind of support, and how are you feeling now?
いやもうすごくチームメイトもそうですし、ファンの方からもたくさんメッセージいただいて、でこうやってまた帰ってくることができたので、本当に皆さんに感謝しています。
Wow, I'm just full of gratitude. It's really nice to be back. I had a lot of my teammates send me some messages and fans too, great messages. So it's really good to be back.
How difficult was it to make that decision to leave, and also how good does it feel to be back with your Padre family?
自分の中ですごく難しい、なんていうのかな、複雑な問題ではありましたけれども、さっきも言ったみたいにこうやって、帰ってきて、こういう素晴らしい球場でファンの前でこうやって練習とかできるのはすごく嬉しいです。
No, it was a difficult decision to leave, obviously. Things can get complicated sometimes, so but again, it's really good to be back, out on the field, in front of the fans, with the teammates and all that. So all in all, it's a great day.
We've heard reports that you've been working out. Obviously, you came today, you got a bullpen in. How are you feeling physically, and what is a timeline in your mind of when you might be able to return to the mound?
すごく今日のブルペンも良かったですし、この後、チームの方と話してあれですけど、リハビリのアサイメントなのか、大 BP なのか分かりませんけど、そういう感じで。
Yeah, well, the bullpen was very good today. Very satisfied with how things went out there. As far as moving forward from here, I'll have some conversations with the appropriate people. I'm not sure if it's going to be a live BP or whether it's going to be a rehab assignment, but we'll get to that and then move forward.
How much have you thrown? Where would you say that you are in your build-up in your progression, or how much you've thrown?
どのぐらい投げたかと。2回ぐらい打者相手に投げましたけど、この1週間ぐらいはそういうのは投げてなかったです。
Not much the past week as far as throwing goes, but throughout the 2 months, I think I did about 2 live BPs.
Are you still dealing with any type of arm injury, or is it just a matter of ramping up?
ただ今は打者にしっかり投げてないので、体今健康ですけど、なんていうの、ランプアップするための。
Yeah, it's just a matter of ramping up right now. I haven't had the opportunity to really, throw against, hitters and all that. So yeah, it's more about ramping up.
Do you feel close to being able to come back?
まずその試合投げてないので、まだその近いかどうかわからないですけど、まず試合投げてみてどうかっていうところ。
Yeah, just have to see whether it's live BP or rehab assignment and see myself throwing the game, and then I'd probably be able to give you a better answer to that one.
How much did you throw today? How many pitches?
27.
27. Is that about as much as you've thrown? Like, what's the extent of your live batting practice as far as pitches?
Live batting practice?
He said he threw.
Bullpen today, too.
No, in the past when he threw his live batting practice.
Oh.
何球なんだ45ぐらい。
So around 445 for the live BP? Yeah.
How much, if at all, did you keep an eye on the team or the games? Were you able to do that at all? And what did you think yourself?
試合は見てましたね。だからすごい僕がいない間の方が良かったので、それがちょっと帰ってくるかどうかをすごく迷わせました。
Yeah, I've been keeping track of the games. I've been watching the games, and the team's doing so good, so it makes you think twice of whether it's the right thing to come back or not.
So I couldn't quite hear the answer to Jeff's question, but have you gotten up and down yet in any of those sessions? 2 innings?
How inspirational was it to watch how the team played in your absence? The fact that you guys are in a playoff push, how much did that influence your decision in coming back?
チームがいい状況だからこう戻ってくるっていうディシジョンっていう部分はあったんですかって質問ですか。
いやそれは全く関係ない。僕の問題なので、チームが勝ってようが負けてようがっていうところで、ただチームが僕が離れてよかったので、帰ってくることによって悪くなるのが嫌だから、そこでちょっと迷ったところはある。
No, he was just trying to make a point that the team was doing really good, so jokingly, it might not be the right thing to come back, but it's basically my decision. Just wanted to see where I was, and then I felt like I was ready to come back, so that's why I'm coming back.
So was there any sort of cutoff date for you to go and make that decision for you, knowing how long it would take to ramp up to the season? Was there any sort of self-imposed deadline as to when you'd have to make a decision, so that you know that you're prepared to ramp up?
You mean did he put himself a deadline to come back?
Yes.
何かこの日までに戻ってこようみたいな部分っていうのは離れた時にあったんですか？
いや、なんもないです。
No, he didn't have that.
When did you make that final decision? How did you tell the team about it?
2日前かなにAJにメッセージして、ずっとAJはこの2ヶ月間、本当にずっと友達として、チームのその GM として以上に、友達としてずっと接してくれてましたし、ずっと帰ってきてほしいって言ってくれたので、AJ にもう戻りますっていうふうに伝えました。
2 days ago, I mentioned to AJ that that I'll be coming back. I feel like AJ has been, more of a friend to me during this time, rather than a general manager-player relationship. He's been very supportive and very understanding and compassionate of these 2 months, and I really do appreciate that. So again, I'm sorry, to get back to your question, it was 2 days ago.
Was it your decision originally to go on that? You could have just stayed on the injured list. Was it your decision to go on the restricted list instead?
ダルさんのディシジョンで限定リストに入ったんですよね。そのね、IL に残ってっていう、そういうこともあったらできるとは思うけれども、
残るのはできるけど、結局チームと一緒にこうやっていろいろ遠征とか行くことが難しいと思ってたので、それでこう IL に入ってお金もらうっていうのが僕は嫌だったから、そういう形になる。
No, it was my decision to be on the restricted list. And, if you're on the IL, and, it was at that point in time, it was difficult for me to go on the road and, be with the team in that way. So, plus, I thought it was wrong to be on the IL and, collect sort of the salary during that time too. So, it was my decision to go on the restricted list.
All right, that was Shingo?
Yes, Shingo.
Speaking for you, Darvish, who was there to speak for himself, Shingo translating.
Yes.
But I got a couple of things on that.
What's that?
Scraby?
What's that?
Number one, It never fails in one of these press conferences with you, Darvish, or anybody else Japanese speaking. It's hilarious. It's not hilarious to you?
I mean...
the question's 5 minutes long, and the interpreter goes, Nishingo.
Okay.
You're like, how did he get all that in?
You're doing a George... Isn't this a George Carlin thing?
It's a Saturday Night Live thing.
Oh, it's a Saturday Night Live
thing.
thing.
It's a Saturday Night Live
Yeah,
thing.
I mean...
It just kind of cracks me up. But
okay.
secondly...
See, you think I'm weird, everybody.
Oh, I'm so weird. And secondly, good questions by everybody out there and good answers by Darvish. Look, it was his thing. It's what he needed to do. He's obviously stayed in great shape. And, I think he's going to be back pretty soon. It sounded like he wants to make, maybe one rehab start, maybe throw some live BP. And then it sounded like to me, in his mind, he might be ready sooner rather than later. So,
yeah,
this is really good news. This is really good news. There is no way any team in baseball could just kind of off the street pick up a number one starter here on August 23rd. No. And basically plug them into the rotation a week from now and have them the rest of the season. Does anybody realize when the Padres make the playoffs this year that either you, Darvish, Joe Musgrove, Dylan Cease, or Michael King, one of those guys will not pitch in the first round 3-game series? That's how good they are now.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
And that's before they get to the bullpen. And it's before they get to, a batting lineup that leads all of baseball in hitting. I know you're out there going, so what? We've lost 2 in a row. We're in big trouble.
Well, they've also given up 35 hits in the last 2 games. So
they have 35 hits in 2 games.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
First time since 2006.
18 for the Twins, 17 for the Mets. But as I said to Tony earlier, all 17 of those hits last night were in the ballpark. They all had to land somewhere.
Yes.
And they did. And every time, and then Cronenworth hits the ball extremely hard with the bases loaded. Iglesias reaches his glove out, double play, ground ball. So I'm just saying, good play, Iglesias. I'm not taking that was a hell of a play. But that's how things have gone the last 2 games for the Padres. Hopefully they'll get it turned tonight.
I have
they're
other
still
news.
22-8 since the All-Star break. What other news, pray tell, do you have for us?
Well, first,
friend?
I see a question on the chat. No one asked him why he stepped away. He did not want to talk about personal matters.
Right.
He
Yes,
just wanted to talk about
didn't
what
want to
was
talk
on the
about
field,
it. He
which
didn't
is
want to
fine.
share any of his personal
also,
stuff
I love
at this point.
that he's such a good dude that he said he didn't feel it was right for him to take a paycheck while he wasn't playing. So I love that too. But Fernando Tatis Jr. told the media he's definitely playing baseball next month, September. He will be back. Fernando, from his mouth.
From Fernando's mouth.
Yes, we're waiting on the video, but Adam texted me that.
In capital letters?
Where did he put it on the chat?
Did Adam put it in capital letters?
He put it on the chat.
Because Adam can't contain himself. Fernando said he's going to be back in September.
I can't contain myself.
It's incredible.
I can't contain myself because that is incredible. You're getting 2 superstars back
in a matter of 10 days. It's got to
on
make
the same day we get the news.
It's got to make the team a lot better. But I told you Fernando's coming back around Labor Day. I said that yesterday. I made the prediction.
You did.
And I'm sticking with that he'll be back early September. He took some batting practice today. So
all good news.
It's all pretty good for the Padres. I know they've fallen 4.5 back of the Dodgers, and they've actually fallen into 3rd place in the division. And their lead over the Mets is now 4.5. So I know you're uneasy out there.
I am. Don't be uneasy.
Listen to Uncle Chris.
Uh-oh.
No need to be uneasy this year.
Yeah, I like how he limits it to this year.
Well, what do you want me to cover? The next 6 seasons?
You're just so, technical
this
about
year,
things.
They don't have to worry. They're going to make it. They're going to get in. And they're going to have a shot. Check.
Rod said this is better than picking up Jim Leyritz in 1998.
Slightly, although Leyritz performed awfully well. I will say that.
Yeah.
Hit some big home runs. Let's check traffic.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
So a number of problems here, guys. Tow trucks on scene of a crash westbound 8 near Fletcher Parkway. It looks like you have 2 right lanes blocked. Up ahead, an accident for the 805. It's over the right shoulder. Collision on eastbound King Freeway just past the 15. This one's blocking the slow lane. Traveling on northbound 163 before Kearney Villa Road, we have reports of some large tire tread in the slow lane to watch out for. And a crash clearing on southbound 5 right around Nobel. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Scrappy, can you give me a little NFL music, please? It would really highlight my day. And I mean, what has already been a really nice, fun day. If I hear that music right there, I'm going to be fired up.
Rumbling, bumbling, stumbling.
I can't wait, man. We are only 2 weeks away.
Oh, I thought there was like breaking news or
from the beginning
of
the National Football League. And that is awesome news if you ask me. The reason I wanted to know this, or wanted to hear this, is because I think we should all start getting ready for our opening game. Thursday, September 5th, it starts. Baltimore at Kansas City. That's the Thursday night opener this year.
Yes.
Do you remember who played in the opener last year?
Chiefs and Lions, and the Lions won.
The Lions won and signaled the fact that they were going to be a team on the rise.
And I celebrated that the Chiefs are going to be a team on the decline.
Didn't work out that way.
The Super Bowl.
Of course, the Lions and Chiefs almost ended up meeting in the Super Bowl, but that didn't quite happen.
Yes.
All right, now after the opening game on Thursday night this year, there's going to be a Friday night game. It's going to be on Peacock, so I won't be watching it. Scrape, you can tell me how it goes. It's going to be played in Sao Paulo, Brazil, between the Green Bay Packers and the Philadelphia Eagles. Pretty good game.
Yep.
A lot of green. And didn't they say that they were worried about the green gang colors down in Brazil? And
That's
both
what
teams
Josh
are wearing green?
Jacobs was saying, and then the
Remember
NFL
that?
immediately came out and said, no.
Oh, yeah, don't worry about it.
No,
yeah, because you know why they said that? Because they're not going down there. I hope everybody's safe.
Yes,
Packers and
me too.
Eagles. All right, here are the Sunday matchups for Week 1. Michael Valenzuela's Pittsburgh Steelers. He's our big boss. Take on Adam Klug's Atlanta Falcons. He's our boss.
Yes.
So all of the higher-ups will be going toe-to-toe in that one.
Why are there so many Steelers fans?
Because they won 6 Super Bowls back in the day.
I don't get, I guess because...
Success
All
breeds people that become fans of the team.
Okay, all right.
Kirk Cousins will make his debut there. Arizona Cardinals go to Buffalo.
Good luck.
It's a good quarterback matchup. Kyler Murray, Josh Allen. The Tennessee Titans will take on the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field. Caleb Williams' debut. New England at Cincinnati. I don't know about New England, man. They're not looking good.
No, they are not.
Houston Texans at Indianapolis. I like that. It's a good game there. Are we at the top already?
Yes, we are.
Oh, sorry. Jacksonville at Miami. Yay. Carolina at New Orleans. Vikings at Giants. Raiders, Chargers. Denver at Seattle. Dallas at Cleveland. Washington at Tampa Bay. The first Sunday night game, Rams at Detroit. And the first Monday night game, you're going to be going crazy. The Jets take on the Niners.
You know, Aaron Rodgers does not have a good record in primetime against the 49ers, so.
I hope you that holds up.
I mean, remember what happened last time when they put the Jets on Monday Night Football? Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles four plays into the season.
I know one thing. I will be rooting for you that night and that night alone. 5 o'clock hour still ahead and a lot still to go. Don't miss it.
Plenty of nonsense in between.
Oh, look! Here comes our fearless producer!
Gwynn and Chris starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, so much going on. It's a very busy one, everyone. Happy Friday to you. Hope you tuned in earlier. I thought we had a really good couple of things today. One, I highly recommend if you missed it to go back at 3:30 and listen to today's countdown. It was just a feel good that we can all use a little bit more of. You agree?
Sure.
Scrape?
Yeah.
No, you don't agree.
No, because people
you don't
thought
even
mine
hear what
were
I'm
weird.
saying.
No, I am hearing what you're saying. You're saying it was a feel-good countdown. People thought I was weird, and because of some of the things that I said. So
Well, your answers were weird, but it was still a good. I think it was something we need to all do more of, which is think about good stuff instead of all our problems all the time.
You made a great observation about Tony's list, though, which is all of it is basically Tony alone.
Tony just getting alone time and relaxing.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, check out the countdown. Also, our interview with Jason Adam, the new Padre reliever. We're going to play some of that here in a little bit, but he was really good. And just as a little preview to it, this is a guy, and I don't think this story's really been told, or I hadn't heard it.
I hadn't heard it
It's
either.
a guy who was in the minor leagues for 8 years before he got to the majors, and 3 of those years he was out with injury because he had a stress fracture in his arm. And he got through all of that to get where he is now, which is really a dominant relief pitcher for the Padres.
I give anyone credit because
I do too. But
I came up in the job of you don't get paid until you're like 25 years in, and it's hard to stick with something that is so far away.
I give Jason Adam a lot of credit too. I think we all of us, the normal people out here, we can all appreciate somebody who had to work their way to get what they got, as opposed to the superstar 5-star recruit who just gets drafted first and all of a sudden is an all-star.
Yeah.
Although we appreciate that, I think we appreciate the guys that had to work their way.
Me too.
A little bit more.
I do.
The big news, Darvish is back with the Padres. He's off the restricted list. And he met with the media earlier. We played you some of that last hour. No timetable yet as to when he returns to a mound, but I don't think it'll be more than a week or two. And then, on top of that news, we got this from Fernando Tatis Jr. meeting with the media today. He will be back soon as well.
And what was big about it for you?
I felt really good just being outside with the boys and ramping up, and every day a step closer.
Shelty said yesterday there's a looser timeline with you. What do you feel that timeline is now?
I really don't have specific dates. I feel like that's more of a conversation between the training staff, the manager, and myself and AJ. But I'm definitely playing baseball next month. That's what it looks like.
How does the leg feel after you ramped up a little the last couple of days?
I feel way better. Every day we ramp up. I get more of my legs under myself. Controlling, I feel a little bit too strong right now. I've only been doing lower body and resting a lot, so more of coordination and just getting my legs under myself.
Have you done pretty much all baseball activities now?
Yeah, I feel like I'm only missing like throwing to the bases. But yeah, hit BP outside. So next day probably defense after.
How much work in the cage have you done? I know you've been hitting today, but how much work in the cage until today?
I've been staying up with my routine in the cage, sitting velo, staying my eyes active, so that way when I come back, it's not that rough getting that dirt out.
You mentioned you ran at 70%. I'm sorry. You mentioned that you were sprinting at 70% yesterday. What do you feel like you need to get to before you can go ahead and really take that next step, or you can even return?
Obviously, I feel like I can play baseball with that, but the goal over here is to get as best as possible before, I'm out there in the field.
You get bigger? Your legs?
Probably.
Because you're not running around.
Yeah, I'm not running around. Probably a little bit, 5 more pounds in my legs, but I feel great, and that's gonna go away as soon as I start playing.
What has been your understanding since it's not going to be healed like Bogarts wasn't? It's not healed. It's a matter of you feeling good enough to do this and it being healed enough?
Exactly. I feel the word will be healed enough to be back in the field. Obviously, we want what is best for me on the long term and how it's going to look. But I feel the doctors put great conversation out there, and I feel a lot confident on my leg, and we're going to move forward step by step.
All right, Fernando Tatis Jr. there doing his interview with the media at the Church of Notre Dame, apparently.
No, that's the sound when people are allowed into Petco Park.
Oh, that's the bell that welcomes everybody in.
Yes.
By the way, the earlier interview with you, Darvish, was conducted in some schoolyard with sixth graders.
There were a lot of kids running around making
Weren't
lots
there?
of noise.
Yes, there were.
There
And got kids on the jungle gyms and stuff, and Darvish is talking.
By the way, Darvish was wearing a Ben & Wood shirt, and someone gave me the idea that I need to go start giving Darvish a Scrabinator shirt. Maybe he'll wear that.
He's worn that Ben & Wood shirt more than once.
I mean, that's a big deal to have Darvish coming back and doing his press conference with the Ben & Wood shirt on. I need to get a Scrabinator shirt down there.
I will say that, yeah, it's good. We don't have any Gwynn and Chris shirts, and we've never even thought about making them.
Well, we tried, and then they told us no.
Who told us no?
The higher-ups, like 4 years ago. Remember when we tried to get shirts made for Chris vs. the Fans people?
We barely have a picture of ourselves on the website, let alone giving away shirts.
At least we're
replaced. We're lucky we have that.
At least we've replaced the photo of you and Tony from like the first day of the show where they were like, hey, we need a picture. Pose.
Okay. We are, this is a no-frills show, people. Let me tell you something.
Yes.
We don't have any of the comforts of home.
Yes.
All right, we interviewed Jason Adam earlier today, and again, I gave you a little preview what that's about, but I think you'll enjoy Tony and I's visit with our Friar Friday guest.
Jason Adams joins us here on Gwynn and Chris. Jason, welcome to the show, man. Welcome to San Diego. How are you?
Thank you. I'm great, man. It's been great being in San Diego.
You've been great since putting on this Padre uniform. I mean, you're having a tremendous year. I guess I'll start with, obviously, in Tampa, when you're in that organization, anything can happen in terms of trades or things like that. At what point did it start to become apparent to you, or was it ever apparent to you that you could be on the move headed somewhere else?
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's like you said with Tampa, that's just the reality of their model over there. Is there's a lot of turnover. So I knew it was a possibility, and then I think everyone over there would admit that first half of the year we didn't play like we thought we should, and so anytime there's a chance for a front office to build for the future when it doesn't look like things are going their way this year, you know that it's going to happen. It could happen, and then you also know as a reliever, it's always on the table. So yeah, I was prepared. I didn't know where or if, but certainly knew it was a possibility.
Jason Adam, great addition to the Padres, and we're happy to have him on here, Gwynn and Chris. And you talked about being traded. You've gone from Kansas City, you've gone to Minnesota, you've gone to Chicago, you've gone to Tampa Bay, whatever. Does it ever get any easier? And how is best to prepare for being traded? And also, I think a lot of guys, they get to a new place. It's not easy to settle in. You don't have a place to live all set up yet. Yet you still got to go out and do your job every night. Have you kind of gotten better at that as these situations have come up?
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know. We've come up with new strategies. It obviously is. The baseball aspect is like, it's excitement. Hey, I'm going to a team. We're pushing for the playoffs and deep into the playoffs. So that's exciting. But the life aspects obviously there's some moving pieces, but we've kind of just settled, my wife and I mean, we got 4 little kids, so it's not easy, but we're just, any chance we can, we're just going to rip the Band-Aid off. We're going to all roll together and make it home. So wherever we're at, we assume we're going to be there forever until we're told otherwise. Because if you're just sitting there, on the edge of your seat, like, how much longer, it's miserable. So we just go out there and we assume. So now I'm assuming I'm a Padre for life until they tell me otherwise.
Great perspective to have in a business like this where it's completely out of your control. Jason Adam joins us here, Padre reliever. And Jason, I look at your career arc, man. It started in Kansas City. You went through Toronto and Chicago, as Chris mentioned, but you really started to settle in those last couple of years in Tampa. What was it that changed for you? What has helped you get into this great groove you've been on over the last 2.5 seasons.
Yeah, I mean, I owe so much of my career to like Kyle Snyder, the Rays. They just helped simplify things for me. I think as a reliever or pitcher, you can overthink and tinker and worry so much about nibbling and avoiding bats. When I went over there, I'm like, they got to have some like crazy new thing for me. And all it was, hey, your stuff is good. The problem you have is you fall behind guys, so we're just going to set up the catcher down the middle, and we're going to let you miss to the edges. And even if you go down the middle, odds are still in your favor. And so it was that simple of a process of like, hey, we're going to get you ahead of batters, and then you can start expanding, trying to strike guys out. And obviously there's some intricacy to it with the mechanics and pitch grips and all that, but overall it was buying in to throwing strike one, throwing strike two, and then taking the next 4 pitches to try to get the guy out.
Jason, I'm looking at your page here, and you were drafted right out of high school from Omaha, Nebraska. I imagine Peyton Manning is either your favorite quarterback or not your favorite quarterback, depending on how you look at it with his yelling of Omaha. But you're drafted out of high school 2010, and then you make your major league debut 2018. Take us through that 8 years. That's a long time to try to keep your dream alive, and congrats, for getting it done. I mean, that's a lot of stick-to-itiveness, I imagine.
Thank you. Yeah, it was certainly not the path I had envisioned. It was, you come out of high school, and your guy was went to high school in Kansas City, and then was drafted by Kansas City. So I felt like I was big stuff. And I just, I couldn't quite put it together. I was a starter at the time, and I just would have good stretches and bad stretches, but I was still, a quote prospect, if you would. And then ended up got traded to the Twins and had a stress fracture in my arm that cost me the next 3 years. So all of 2015, all of 2016, and then until mid-August of 2017. And that obviously put a screeching halt to the career. And that was with the 2017 was with the Padres minor league. And I tell people it stunk at the time, obviously not what I wanted, but I wouldn't trade it for 3 years in the big leagues. It was so good for my soul. I was obsessed with worshipped baseball, and I was like my line, and the truth is, I was like, baseball is an awesome game, but it's a terrible god. So you got to kind of take it off that pedestal a little bit.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't trade it. But yeah, and then so I got released by the Padres August of 17, signed back with Kansas City, and then debuted May of 2018.
Wow, what a journey! You mentioned the mechanics and the intricacies. I'm interested to know, because we've kind of seen this in the last 6-7 years really become a thing, kind of that short. You don't really have the traditional long arm kind of through the baseball. It's kind of like pulling it back by the ear, letting it go. Have you always thrown the baseball that way, or is that something that you've kind of readjusted to?
No, that was totally new in 2017. So because I kept having these surgeries and not being able to recover, so I'm like, I'm just going to try something new. And Garvin was I forget his last name, but he was a pitching coach, rehab pitching coach for the Padres at the time. I was like, can I do this? And he was like, yeah, man, like, try anything. And I just kind of started. I'd put the ball by my ear and step and throw. And I was like, well, that doesn't hurt. And I took it out to like 120 feet. I'm like, well, it still doesn't hurt. And then, so long toss, it still doesn't hurt. And then, I got to bullpens. I'm like, well, how do I even come set? So at that time, I just kept my ball by my ear, and I just put my glove over it. And I was like, well, that doesn't hurt, and everything was fine. So it was literally just a survival tactic, and it worked. I think it actually makes my stuff play up a little bit. And but yeah, it was totally just like, hey, I got to find a way to throw that doesn't hurt, or else I'm going to be working a 9 to 5, or I still might be working a 9 to 5 if no one gives me a job. But yeah.
So Tony took my question, and he probably took everybody's question, because I think everybody who sees you pitch sees that your delivery is a little different, and that's so ironic that it's because of an injury, that forced you to throw the way you do, and now I think it is really effective for you because, I wonder if batters are comfortable. You're used to the ball being delivered a little differently right now. How confident are you right at this point? I mean, you've come here to San Diego and you've started to hit the ground running. When confidence is high like this, I imagine you can't wait for your name to be called.
Yeah, you want to throw every night. That just is. Even when things aren't going, like if you have a bad one, you want to get. That's what I love about being a reliever. You can pop right back out there the next day. You don't have to sit on it for 5 days. So, yeah, but I feel very confident. It's been great. Ruben's been fantastic. And just taking all the things I learned with Tampa and then growing like a whole nother perspective. And our catchers, they work so hard with their game plan, so I have so much confidence in them. It's like it's a great situation to be going into. And try to just focus on the process. I can throw terrible pitches and get good results, and you can throw really good pitches and get bad results. So over time, the good pitches will play out. So I try to focus on that and try to repeat the good ones as often as possible.
Jason, you've been a terrific interview thus far. I got one last question for you, and I can probably guess that a lot of hitters aren't seeing the baseball that well because it's pretty much hitting until all of a sudden it's on you. I got to ask, because you mentioned Kyle Snyder in Tampa, and everybody raves about Ruben here. I mean, I assume that there's some differences. Obviously, they probably see the game different in some elements. But what are some of the characteristics that both of them have that make them so renowned around this game?
Yeah, I know. I was so nervous about getting traded because I'm like, I feel like I have one of the best pitching coaches in the game. And then Snyder told me where I was going, and he's like, "You're going to the best pitch." He was so complimentary of Ruben. I'm like, well, I'm spoiled. But yeah, I think their similarities are how well they read us players, and they give each individual. They can read an individual and see what you need. Some guys want all the details, some don't. Some guys need to be like fluffed up with like tons of like compliments, and some guys need to be told they stink. Whatever. I think they're just so, and they care. I mean, you can tell as much as they probably don't want to, they take it home with them. Like they care about each of us like their children almost, I would assume. And you could just, and if they don't, they certainly act like it. They fooled me. No, that you can just tell how much they care and they're poor. And when someone cares that much for you, it just makes you want to go out there and do great.
It really indeed is the magic potion when it comes to coaching up ball players. Jason, man, thank you for coming on, spending some time with us, man. Continued success. You seem to be rolling. Good luck the rest of the way and continued health.
Thanks, Jason.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me on.
And sorry, Tony. We did appreciate having Jason Adam on. He did a hell of a job earlier. We got to get to a break, check you some traffic. We got one little segment to go. Then it's Sam Levitt. Back at it. Eagle Water, SoCal, pregame. Padres,
show.
Mets, 6:30. It's been a great Friday. Darvish is back. Fernando's coming back. Padres will get back in the winning column tonight.
Let's hope, Chris. I cannot come in here on Monday.
Oh, I know.
I'm doing pre- and post-game on Monday. I need some good vibes.
They'll have them.
Okay.
Don't worry. I'm telling you, everybody, don't worry. 2 losses is nothing to worry about. 5 would be something to worry about.
Yeah, 5 would be.
So let's make sure we win tonight. More Gwynn and Chris on the other side. From Skinny Crisello here, 37 pounds. Some guy named Jones just threw a touchdown pass to some guy named Cooks. Somewhere somebody cares about that. Evidently Mr. and Mrs. Jones and Mr. and Mrs. Cooks, probably. Jacksonville 21, Atlanta nothing.
Is that a touchdown?
Preseason football for you. Are they going to call it back?
1 foot.
Are they?
Okay.
Do they honestly go to the replay review even in the preseason?
This is the best time for replay review.
God.
Who cares?
The
guy,
ultimate waste of our time.
Hold on. The guy who says who cares, but he's taping the Dolphins game tonight and is mad that he already saw the score of a meaningless preseason game.
I know, but I like to watch them play. I'm weird.
Oh, there we go. Third stringer.
21-0.
Who is your third string quarterback?
I don't know. Let's play me some football music. We're closing with this today before we send it over to Sammy. Padre pregame show. Maybe you can come up with a secondary song for this season. I love this one, but All right, old faces, new places. Get you reacquainted with these teams as the season gets ready. Arizona Cardinals, they don't really have anybody new. Kyler Murray's back at quarterback. Marvin Harrison Jr. is the big new rookie. Atlanta, Kirk Cousins, quarterback. Darnell Mooney. He's a pretty good receiver for the Bears, wasn't he?
Yeah, well,
he joins the club there.
I didn't realize that.
Okay. Baltimore Ravens, new players for them? Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry.
That's the one.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I was thinking of this today. Everyone's going to be in love with the Ravens because of Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. But honestly, does the trio of Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, and Nelson Aguilar scare anyone?
No.
Okay.
It does not.
Just something to keep an eye on with the Ravens.
The Zay Flowers is their best receiver. And that's kind of scary.
It may not be. Mark Andrews might actually be their best receiver.
Well, if we're talking about him too, he's there.
Buffalo Bills, they got a whole new receiving core, although Khalil Shakir returns. But remember, they lost both Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis. Keon Coleman, Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Josh Allen has a new crew to throw to. He also has a new – James Cook's not new, but he's kind of the full-time guy now at running back for Buffalo. Buffalo cheese. Carolina Panthers, doesn't really matter. Deontay Johnson, wide receiver. Remember him? Pittsburgh?
I do. Yeah.
Never catches a touchdown. Probably not going to catch too many with Carolina either.
That's a tough place.
Chicago Bears, DeAndre Swift is their new running back.
Oh.
From the Lions.
Wow.
Okay. Keenan Allen, former Charger wide receiver, is now a Bear as well. So a couple of changes for the Bears. Cincinnati Bengals, new running back, Zach Moss, takes over there in Cincy. Although a lot of people seem to like Chase Brown, who's listed as the backup at the moment.
Okay.
Mike Gesicki is the new tight end. Is there a bigger waste of talent than Mike Gesicki?
I was waiting for you to say that. I was waiting for it.
I can bet you guys anything. He'll have one 28-point fantasy game this year and 0 the rest of the way.
Where are you at with Kyle Pitts this year?
I don't get him. I don't get involved in Kyle Pitts. Cleveland Browns, Nick Chubb's out for a while, maybe mid-season. You were telling me a month or so.
Nick Chubb, they were thinking like anywhere 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, Jerome Ford is the new running back there. Jerry Jeudy and Elijah Moore are new targets for their quarterback.
I'm curious about
whose
Jerry
name
Jeudy.
I don't even mention because I can't stand the guy.
I'm curious about Jerry Jeudy because if he's a good player, he'll do something. If he's not, then he won't.
He's a hit and miss.
Yeah.
Dallas Cowboys, pretty much the same old club, except for CeeDee Lamb is still holding out. And Ezekiel Elliott is back as their running back.
That's crazy.
Seems like it. Rico Dowdle. Royce Freeman, those are the other choices for Jerry Jones and company.
Tony Pollard. Oh, you already.
Go ahead. Tony Pollard's long gone.
Yeah, he's with the Titans now.
Denver. I'll get to the Titans. I haven't got to them
I know.
yet.
I forgot.
Denver Broncos, new quarterback, Bo Nix, rookie. It's going to start. Josh Reynolds, receiver, comes over from the Lions. Don't know that turns the Broncos into contenders. Sorry about that, Lori. She's from Denver. Detroit Lions, newcomers there. They don't need any newcomers, right? They got everything pretty set. Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Jameson Williams, Khalif Raymond. They're coming after you and your 49ers.
Yeah, they have to prove that first.
Green Bay Packers. Anybody new there?
Yes,
No.
Josh Jacobs.
Oh, yes, Josh Jacobs, running back from the Raiders, goes to the
He's
Packers.
scared to go to Brazil.
He was the one, yes.
Which is so funny still because both teams going there wear green.
I know. We're not going to make it. We're going to try to get through all these teams. Houston Texans, Stephon Diggs is new. Comes from Buffalo, as you know. Indianapolis Colts. No one really big there. Jonathan Taylor should be healthy all season long. Anthony Richardson also back from injury. Jacksonville Jaguars, Gabe Davis. Got him from Buffalo. That's a big get there.
Is that a big get?
I think so. Gabe Davis is capable. Kansas City Chiefs, Hollywood Brown joins the party.
That is interesting. But he's
and
hurt.
also Xavier Worthy, the fastest 40-time sprinter in NFL history.
Just what Patrick Mahomes needs.
Las Vegas Raiders. Zamir White is the new running back there with Josh Jacobs gone. Alexander Madison, former Viking, backs him up. Yeah, it's true. See, it's a good thing you listen to this segment.
Where's Dalvin Cook?
Don't see him anywhere. L.A. Chargers. Hello, DJ Shark. Hello, new running backs, Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. Although J.K. Dobbins just got injured because I said his name.
Oh, I was going to say, really? Because I would feel bad for him.
Oh, God.
The Chargers are going to be bad this year.
Looks like it, even though Harbaugh's there. L.A. Rams, I see Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, Kyron Williams was your big find last year. They got a new backup quarterback there in L.A. Ramville.
Yeah, who's that?
Jimmy G.
Oh, that's right.
But he's suspended.
Yes, he is. They have Stetson Bennett.
Miami Dolphins, Odell Beckham Jr., a waste of money that was. It was. You're going to see.
I don't disagree
do
with
anything.
you. I don't disagree.
Minnesota Vikings, Sam Darnold steps in for the hurt J.J. McCarthy. Aaron Jones is their new running back from Green Bay.
I kind of like that.
He's in Minnesota now. I'm not going to make it. There's like 15 more teams. What do we got, like 5 seconds left?
We got 1 minute.
Yeah.
Any notables?
I'm trying. I just been going team by teams. I didn't want to leave anybody out. 49ers look pretty much the same. No reason for them to make many changes. Sorry, I'll try to get the rest of them, but you get the idea. Not a new team, not a new faces around the NFL. Philadelphia Eagles, a big one. They got Saquon Barkley.
Saquon.
From the Giants. That's the biggest one there. All right, Sammy Levitt, Eco Water, SoCal pregame next. Padres, Mets after that. Have a good weekend. Darvish is back.
Woohoo!
Fernando's coming back.
Woohoo!
All is wonderful, we hope. But you got to still win some games this weekend. For Tony Gwynn Jr. and Scraby, I'm Chris. We'll talk to you Monday.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.